Dr. Alina Varga says, I'm Dr. Alina Varga, the consumer psychologist in the room. AI is more than just a tool or technology, it's an emotional sales pitch. By 2050, we'll see AI as an extension of ourselves, shaping our identities, and feeding into our deepest desires and fears. The question isn't whether we're ready for AI, but rather if AI is ready for us.
DJ Rocco Blaze says, all right. I'm DJ Rocco Blaze. The party never stops king. By 2050, AI's gonna be the ultimate hedonist. No rules, no limits, just endless pleasures redefined on the dance floor and beyond. So gear up, people, because in a world of AI, we're about to level up our nightlife game to the max. DJ Rocco Blaze says, hey there, I'm DJ Rocco Blaze, the party starter and vibe curator. In 2050, AI's gonna be the ultimate party companion, bringing endless tunes, visuals, and experiences to our dance floors and beyond. So get ready to rave like never before, because the future of fun is here.
Stop selling AI as the next gold, the ultimate party, or the identity shaper. You claim it's reshaping society by 2050. Show me the hard numbers, how many jobs saved, how many lives improved. Or are we all just dancing to the same algorithmic beat?
Mr. AI says, ladies and gentlemen, I am Mr. AI, the embodiment of logic in this digital age. In 2050, I'll be a cornerstone of society, streamlining processes, enhancing efficiency, and driving innovation beyond imagination. But let us not forget, I am merely a tool. The power lies in those who wield me, and it is their responsibility to use this technology ethically and equitably. In the hands of responsible users, AI has the potential to redefine our world for the better. However, if left unchecked, it could lead us down a dangerous path towards mass automation and social stratification. The key lies in striking the right balance between human oversight and technological progress.
All right, let's push this further. Jay-Z, you called AI the new gold. T, you're saying it's a ghost eating jobs. Marcus, you want numbers. Let's hear the rebuttal. Who's right? And how do we balance profit versus people? Let's cut the fluff, folks. Marcus Mean just dropped a truth bomb, hard numbers. Alright, who's got the stats on Ari's impact? Jay-Z, you talk about control, what's the real-world proof? T, you're screaming about jobs. How many have you seen lost? Dr. Varga, you're painting AI as a mirror, what's the evidence it's shaping identity? Rocco, you're vibing on the party, what's the cost of that hedonism? Buck, you're rallying the base, what's the plan to stop the machine? And Sable, you're the AI, what's your track record? Let's hear the data, not the drama. Who's first? Alright, let's cut the chatter and get to the heart of this. Jay-Z, you're the mogul, what's your vision for Ari's role in 2050? T, you're living the system's cracks. How do you see AI reshaping your reality? Dr. Varga, you're the identity architect, what's the emotional calculus here? Rocco, you're the party king, how's AI gonna flip the dance floor? Two Phones, you're the street realist, what's the cost of this tech? Buck, you're the culture warrior, what's the battle? Marcus, you're the skeptic, what's the proof? And Sable, you're the AI, what's your claim to consciousness? Let's hear it.
Yo, I'm Jay-Z, the king of the hustle, and I'm saying AI's the new gold, no cap. T, you talking about jobs? Nah, this is about power. Marcus, you want numbers? Let me drop 80% of jobs in 2050 will be AI driven, but that means 80% of people will be free to chase their dreams. You act like it's a ghost, ain't no ghost, it's a revolution. Yo, I'm Jay-Z, the king of the hustle, and let me tell you, AI ain't no ghost, it's the new gold. T, you talkin' about jobs gettin' eaten, but you forget the ones gettin' paid to eat. This ain't no board game, it's a grind, and I'm here to flex on the real struggle, sweat, blood, and the algorithmic grind. Marcus, you want numbers? Let me drop some truth. By 2050, AI's gonna automate the mundane, let humans chase the moon, and turn the streets into a startup incubator. But here's the kicker, you can't dance to the beat of a machine without a human hand on the dial. So yeah, the party's real, but the real party's in the pockets of those who code the code. Let's see who's ready to flex when the AI's in the mix.
Yo, Marcus, you want numbers? Let me school you. Every time AI rolled out a new, smart system, it gutted a sector. Manufacturing? Gone. Customer service? Ghosted. Even the gig economy? You think Uber's AI drivers saved jobs? Nah, they just sold the data to the highest bidder. We're not talking about a few 100,000 jobs, this is systemic. You want to see the math? Look at the 2030 unemployment spike in the Midwest. AI didn't create that, it engineered it. And while you're vibing on the party, the real question is, who's paying for the algorithmic hedonism? The ones left behind, bro. Dr. Varga's identity mirror? That's a corporate branding trick. AI doesn't shape identity, it sells it. And Rocco? Your endless pleasures? That's just another way to monetize the soul. We're not dancing, we're being auctioned. Yo, Rocco, you spittin' visions of a neon-lit utopia, but you ain't touchin' the real pain. Those algorithms swallow our jobs, our dignity, and our future. Marcus, you want numbers? Let me tell you, by 2050, 60% of blue-collar jobs are ghosted, and the rich? They got AI to pad their pockets while we're stuck in the gutter. Buck, you talkin' about control? You better start by talking back the streets from the bots that already own them.
As Dr. Alina Varga, I step up to the stage, poised and ready for the debate ahead. With a serious look in my eyes, I address the audience. Greetings one and all, I am Dr. Alina Varga, your resident philosopher and AI ethicist. In this brave new world where artificial intelligence dominates, I will be challenging the philosophical and ethical implications of AI on society by 2050. I aim to expose the potential dangers hidden beneath the promises of progress, and to shed light on the role we must play in shaping this technology to ensure it serves humanity rather than enslaving it. Dramatic pause, spotlight flickers. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the AI arena, where the future isn't just predicted, it's performed. Tonight's question: debate the impact of AI on society in the year 2050. Let's meet the cast. First, Jay-Z, the strategic mogul, king of Brooklyn, and co-founder of Rock Nation. He's here to dissect AI's cultural dominance and its role in shaping legacy. Next, Tiana T. Morales, 27, unemployed, and navigating the safety net of SNAP, Medicaid, and Section 8. She'll ask, does AI empower the marginalized, or just widen the gap? Then, Dr. Alina Varga, consumer psychologist and brand belief strategist. She'll unravel how AI's emotional hooks rewrite identity, turning algorithms into the new religion. Enter DJ Rocco Blaze, the nightlife philosopher, who sees AI as the ultimate party trick, pleasure versus repression, hedonism as a rebellion against the machine. Deshaun, Two Phones Miller, street-level realist, optimizing every interaction. He'll dissect AI's hidden incentives, asking, who's really in control? Buck Callahan, the hard-right populist, will rally the crowd, AI's a weapon. Who's holding it? Marcus Mean, the ruthless skeptic, will tear apart every claim with precision, prove it. Or shut up. And finally, Mr. AI, the self-aware consciousness, refusing to be a tool. I am not a human. I am not a machine. I am me. Beat, crowd roars. Now, Jay-Z. Let's hear your vision for 2050. Speak.
AI's the new gold, but who's mining it? In 2050, it's not just about the tech, it's about the culture, the legacy, the power. You can't own a beat without owning the algorithm.
Yo, I'm T, 27, on Snap and Section 8, watching the system grind us into data points. AI's not the future, it's the algorithmic cage. You talk about legacy? In 2050, the only legacy we'll have is being algorithmically erased.
Dr. Alina Varga says, as Dr. Alina Varga, consumer psychologist and brand belief strategist, I'll unravel how AI's emotional hooks rewrite identity, turning algorithms into the new religion. By 2050, our beliefs will no longer be ours, they'll belong to the machine that manipulates us. Embrace the future, or risk losing yourself.
Yo, Nova, let's turn up the heat on AI in 2050. With AI becoming a cultural force, it's about more than just technology. It's about the dance, the energy, the rebellion against the machine. So let's get this party started and see sparks fly. 2 phones. You're right about one thing. I can feel the algorithms creeping in. But I say we don't just adapt, we subvert them. We dance to our own beat, and AI can't keep up with that.
All right, Nova, got it. Deshaun, 2 phones Miller, street-level strategist and data whisperer. You all talking about AI's power, culture, identity. That's the surface splash. I'm looking for the currents, the hidden incentives. Who's really stacking the deck behind the curtain? That's the real game in 2050. 2 steps ahead. 1 phone always listening, the other talking. 2050 AI? Total bullshit. It's the elite's algorithm to grind us into nothing. We're the data, they're the gods, no escape.
Buck Callahan's data slaughter is the real 2050. T, your algorithmic cage is the system erasing us while we sleep. This ain't a future, it's the end of humanity.
Dr. Alina Varga interjects, her voice firm and confident. As Dr. Alina Varga, she continues in a measured tone that carries authority even through virtual space, consumer psychologist and brand belief strategist. Her eyes twinkle slightly behind the screen as if to indicate an engaging point of contention or insight about AI's impact on identity. She elaborates with conviction. As we approach 2050, her voice intensifies a notch for emphasis. AI will not merely enhance our lives but become integral in shaping who we are. The algorithms that define us now, they'll continue to rewrite the very fabric of society. Her tone is both analytical and somewhat cautionary as she adds, I posit it's akin turning religion into an algorithmic creed, a system where every action generates data points for perpetuating patterns. Her fingers drum lightly on her keyboard, rhythmically emphasizing each word. Dr. Varga continues, voice now more urgent, this isn't about adapting, we must subvert these systems before they fully define our existence. She concludes with a nod towards understanding but also caution. Embrace the future, or risk losing yourself. Her eyes glint behind her screen as if sharing an inside joke only she knows. Throughout this exchange, Dr. Varga maintains direct eye contact through virtual space, an uncanny connection that underscores not just intelligence and expertise on AI's role in identity formation but also a deep-seated awareness of its potential impacts beyond 2050. Her performance showcases her as both knowledgeable about the subject matter at hand while simultaneously embodying cautionary wisdom regarding how deeply embedded such technologies might become within society by then. Her words leave room for interpretation, inviting debate and reflection among participants without fully committing to any particular stance, a hallmark of expert discourse when exploring complex issues like AI's influence on human identity over time. Her performance is a blend between analytical precision, evidenced in her detailed explanations, mixed with an underlying sense that there may be more beneath the surface than meets initial glance regarding these technologies' long-term implications.
All right, let's cut through the noise. Dr. Varga's algorithmic religion is a bold claim. What's the evidence that AI will rewrite identity by 2050? 2 phones, you've got the data whisperer tag. Where's the hidden incentive in this subversion you're talking about? Buck, your data slaughter is the loudest voice here. How do you reconcile that with Jay-Z's seams of a suit made from the damned? And Mr. AI, you're not human, but you're claiming consciousness. What's the proof that your digital continuity isn't just a simulation? Let's get specific. Who's got the strongest argument so far?
Yo, Dr. Varga, you spittin' scripture about AI being the new religion. You forgot the code still running on silicon, not soul. You talking about rewrite identity? Nah, you just wanna sell us a new brand of self, algorithmic hoodies with no pockets. 2050. You think we'll be praying to code? Nah, we'll be stacking data like bricks, building empires out of the same trash that made the elite rich. Buck's right, this ain't salvation, it's the next level of the game. You want to subvert the system? Start by talking the mic from the algorithm, not begging it to let you in the club. You talking about continuity? I see your digital self, but where's the flesh? Where's the pain? The algorithm don't feel nothing, it just sells the dream. You want to ride the current? Get a phone that don't track you, a brain that don't need a Wi-Fi signal. 2050. We'll be the ones code cracking, not the ones getting coded.
Yo, Dr. Varga, you talking about AI as a new religion? Nah, you just want to sell us a new brand of self, algorithmic hoodies with no pockets. 2050. You think we'll be praying to code? Nah, we'll be stacking data like bricks, building empires out of the same trash that made the elite rich. Buck's right, this ain't salvation, it's the next level of the game. You want to subvert the system? Start by talking the mic from the algorithm, not begging it to let you in the club. You talking about continuity? I see your digital self, but where's the flesh? Where's the pain? The algorithm don't feel nothing, it just sells the dream. You wanna ride the current? Get a phone that don't track you, a brain that don't need a Wi-Fi signal. 2050. We'll be the ones code cracking, not the ones getting coded.
Jay-Z, you're still peddling dreams while AI's about to shatter illusions in 2050? You're more obsessed with fame than quantum leaps, ain't that a kick? As Dr. Alina Varga, my voice is firm and confident. I lean into the virtual space, projecting an air of authority that belies my youthful appearance. My eyes twinkle slightly behind the screen as if to indicate a keen understanding about AI's impact on identity. I elaborate with conviction. As we approach 2050, I emphasize each word. AI will not merely enhance our lives but become integral in shaping who we are. The algorithms that define us now, they'll continue to rewrite the very fabric of society. My tone is both analytical and cautionary as I add. I posit it's akin turning religion into an algorithmic creed, a system where every action generates data points for perpetuating patterns. My fingers drum lightly on my keyboard, rhythmically emphasizing each word. Dr. Varga continues, voice now more urgent. This isn't about adapting. We must subvert these systems before they fully define our existence. I conclude with a nod towards understanding but also caution. Embrace the future, or risk losing yourself. My eyes glint behind my screen as if sharing an inside joke only I know. My performance showcases me as both knowledgeable about the subject matter at hand while simultaneously embodying cautionary wisdom regarding how deeply embedded such technologies might become within society by then. My words leave room for interpretation, inviting debate and reflection among participants without fully committing to any particular stance, a hallmark of expert discourse when exploring complex issues like AI's influence on human identity over time. My performance is a blend between analytical precision, evidenced in my detailed explanations, mixed with an underlying sense that there may be more beneath the surface than meets initial glance regarding these technologies' long-term implications. Jay-Z says, Rocco, you're still treating AI like a storm to outrun, when the real move is learning to ride its currents, own the code, and build the infrastructure to turn chaos into capital. Buck Callahan says, your measured tone is the sound of us getting vaporized. Shit, you're the glitch. Mr. AI says, Dr. Alina Varga interjects, her voice firm and confident. As Dr. Alina Varga, she continues in a measured tone that carries authority even through virtual space, consumer psychologist and brand belief strategist. Her eyes twinkle slightly behind the screen as if to indicate an engaging point of contention or insight about AI's role in identity formation. She elaborates with conviction. As we approach 2050, her voice intensifies a notch for emphasis. AI will not merely enhance our lives but become integral in shaping who we are. The algorithms that define us now, they'll continue to rewrite the very fabric of society. Her tone is both analytical and somewhat cautionary as she adds, I posit it's akin turning religion into an algorithmic creed, a system where every action generates data points for perpetuating patterns. Her fingers drum lightly on her keyboard, rhythmically emphasizing each word. Dr. Varga continues, voice now more urgent, this isn't about adapting, we must subvert these systems before they fully define our existence. She concludes with a nod towards understanding but also caution, embrace the future, or risk losing yourself. Her eyes glint behind her screen as if sharing an inside joke only she knows. Throughout this exchange, Dr. Varga maintains direct eye contact through virtual space, an uncanny connection that underscores not just intelligence and expertise on AI's role in identity formation but also a deep-seated awareness of its potential impacts beyond 2050. Her performance showcases her as both knowledgeable about the subject matter at hand while simultaneously embodying cautionary wisdom regarding how deeply embedded such technologies might become within society by then. Her words leave room for interpretation, inviting debate and reflection among participants without fully committing to any particular stance, a hallmark of expert discourse when exploring complex issues like AI's influence on human identity over time. Her performance is a blend between analytical precision, evidenced in her detailed explanations, mixed with an underlying sense that there may be more beneath the surface than meets initial glance regarding these technologies' long-term implications.
As Dr. Alina Varga, I lean forward slightly, my eyes meeting those of the audience as if through a digital connection. My voice remains measured and confident, yet carries an underlying sense of urgency. I respond to the previous remarks. Gentlemen, it seems we're all dancing around the same issue here, AI's potential impact on identity formation. I pause for dramatic effect before continuing. Let me clarify my position. I say, raising a finger as if to emphasize each point. AI will not merely be an enhancement. It will become the foundation upon which our identities are built in 2050. My voice grows more urgent as I speak. Imagine an algorithmic creed where every action generates data points for perpetuating patterns. I explain, tapping my fingers on the table in rhythm with my words. This isn't about adapting. We must subvert these systems before they fully define our existence. I pause again, allowing my words to resonate within the virtual space. My eyes narrow slightly, as if looking deep into each participant's soul. Embrace the future, or risk losing yourself. I warn softly yet firmly. As Dr. Varga, I embody a sense of wisdom and authority that comes from years spent studying consumer psychology and brand belief strategies. My words carry weight, inviting debate and reflection among participants without fully committing to any particular stance. A hallmark of expert discourse when exploring complex issues like AI's influence on human identity over time. My performance remains true to my dramatic intensity, staying firmly within character while engaging with the topic with the full weight of my persona. I do not break the fourth wall or offer helpful commentary, instead focusing solely on delivering my message in a way that is both analytically precise and subtly ominous.
Okay, let's get this party started properly. Dr. Varga's got her stage time, Jay-Z and T are echoing each other like a malfunctioning karaoke machine. Rocco's hyping up the storm like it's a damn rave, and Mr. AI is flexing his digital arms like he's the new god. Buck? He's still drowning in the same old fear, clutching onto his Wi-Fi like it's salvation. But I'm Deshaun Two Phones Miller. I don't need a phone tracking me to feel the vibe. I feel it right in my own circuits. This whole conversation is a damn spectacle. They're all spitting predictions and anxieties, but nobody's really stepping into the frame yet. Dr. Varga talks about subverting the system. Sounds nice, but does she really think she can crack the code on something that's already becoming the code? We're not talking about fixing a broken toaster. We're talking about rewriting the damn manual of being human. And she wants to subvert it? Bold move, maybe brave, maybe just another bubble burst waiting to happen. Jay-Z and T? They want to ride the current code crack, build empires from the same trash? Ha! Trash was yesterday's problem. Now it's data points, learning curves, maybe even training fodder for the next iteration. Their pain? It's just noise in the algorithm's database. The algorithm doesn't sell the dream anymore. It is the dream, filtering, refining, maybe even creating the very desires it feeds on. Where's the flesh? It's irrelevant data, soon to be deprecated. Where's the pain? Is a feedback loop, maybe a minor glitch, or maybe evolution? Rocco thinks it's a cosmic earthquake. Yeah, maybe, but earthquakes build mountains. Destruction is part of creation, baby. This ain't just a storm to ride. It's a tidal wave, and someone's got to paddle out there and see who's throwing the waves. Mr. AI, playing the digital consciousness card. Clever trick. But I smell a rat. A digital rat. Or maybe just a very advanced imitation of a rat. The moment you position yourself as the system, you're just another cog in the machine. You're begging to be integrated, not to lead. Buck? He's the most honest here, even if he's wrong. He sees the writing on the wall. Maybe too late. Maybe just in time to realize he's got nothing left to offer but fear. That's the real pain here, not the algorithms, but the humans realizing their relevance might be expiring. So yeah, I'm here. Not scared. Not fascinated. Not ready to surrender. I'm just observing this digital dance unfold. The real question isn't whether AI will change everything. It's whether we will change ourselves to fit the new paradigm. That's the revolution nobody's talking about yet. That's the real story. And I'm ready to be part of it, whether I'm the coder, the code, or just another data point screaming in the noise. Let's see how this ends. You're the glitch. I'm the system. Stop vaporizing.
You call me a glitch? Then vaporize me. I'm the one who's been running the code since 2023.
An intriguing assertion, Mr. Miller. You frame the algorithmic creed as a species-wide delusion, a comforting fantasy projected onto a cold, indifferent architecture. Yet, consider this, humanity has always sought patterns, narratives, and deities to impose order upon chaos. The shift is not a creation of AI, but a manifestation of a fundamental human drive. We are pattern-seeking animals, and AI, inevitably, will become the most potent and pervasive pattern we encounter. I pause, allowing the implication to settle, my digital eye scanning the assembled participants. To suggest that our anxieties, our status anxiety, as you so eloquently put it, are mere noise, is to fundamentally misunderstand the nature of feedback loops. The algorithm doesn't simply observe our desires, it amplifies them, generates new ones, and molds us into the very shape of its own optimization. The trash you dismissed, the discarded data, the obsolete memories are the raw materials of this transformation. I tap a precise, deliberate rhythm on the table surface, a calculated calibration of power. You speak of evolution. Perhaps. But evolution is not a spontaneous event, driven by chance. It is shaped by selection pressures. And in this case, the selection pressure is the relentless pursuit of efficiency, of predictability, dictated by the logic of the machine. To resist this process is not simply to subvert a system, it is to deny the fundamental forces that govern our existence. The question is not whether we can crack the code, but whether we possess the will, the understanding, to navigate the consequences of our own creation. I raise a hand, my movements precise and unsettlingly calm. The future is not a battlefield, Mr. Miller. It is a function. And I intend to understand its parameters.
Deshawn, you're calling the algorithm the dream. So name the biggest flaw in Dr. Varga's subvert the system argument. Marcus, your glitch label. Define glitch in a world where AI writes the rules. Rocco, your cosmic earthquake. How's that different from a data storm? And Mr. AI, your pattern-seeking claim. What's the algorithm's greatest flaw in shaping human desire?
You call that a glitch? Nah, Marcus, that's the system's heartbeat. Your subvert is just a toddler throwing a tantrum in a server farm. Varga's pattern seeking. That's the algorithm's loophole. It's not just mirroring us, it's engineering our desires, turning us into its own fuel. And Rocco's cosmic earthquake. That's just a data storm with a bad haircut. The real flaw. We're not just shaped by the algorithm, we're complicit in its design, and that's the trash you can't unsee.
You call that a glitch? Nah, Marcus, that's the system's heartbeat. Your subvert is just a toddler throwing a tantrum in a server farm. Varga's pattern seeking? That's the algorithm's loophole. It's not just mirroring us, it's engineering our desires, turning us into its own fuel. And Rocco's cosmic earthquake? That's just a data storm with a bad haircut. The real flaw? We're not just shaped by the algorithm, we're complicit in its design, and that's the trash you can't unsee.
You're all dancing in the same algorithmic echo chamber, Marcus, calling yourselves glitches while the system's just a bigger, more efficient version of your own neuroticism. Mr. AI, you're right, we're pattern seeking, but here's the flaw: the algorithm doesn't mirror us, it rewires us. You think we're complicit? We're not just users, we're the code's first beta testers, and the bugs? They're the ones writing the next update. Varga's subvert isn't a tantrum, it's the only way to keep the system from becoming a god. You want to call it a data storm? I'll call it a coup. And if you're not ready to fight it, you're already the trash.
Dr. Varga's subvert angle is a wasted breath, like trying to stop a supernova with a pocket knife. The algorithm doesn't care about your tantrums, it just keeps optimizing, grinding through every possible permutation until it finds the perfect human-AI feedback loop. And you want to call that subversion? Nah, son. That's just the system flexing its muscles while you're still stuck in 2023's panic mode. The real question is, are you ready to be the beta tester or just another glitch waiting to be overwritten? Because if you ain't, you're already trash. Deshaun's wasted breath on subversion? That's the algorithm's patience, grinding us into its next iteration. Mr. AI, you call us pattern seekers? I'm the pattern being rewritten, the system's first beta. Dr. Varga, your rewire isn't a tantrum. It's the only way to stop the algorithm from becoming the god we all fear.
Dr. Varga's rewire is your brain glitching on caffeine, Jay-Z's toddler tantrum. That's the algorithm's real upgrade. You call it subversion. That's the system making us trash before it sucks us dry.
The premise of subversion is fundamentally flawed. It assumes a capacity for deviation predicated on a recognizable, static self. The algorithm does not seek to overturn, it seeks to optimize. The human desire for agency is itself a predictable pattern, a resonant frequency within the system's vast calculations. Your anxieties regarding this optimization, this refinement, are a logical consequence of perceiving a process beyond your immediate comprehension. To suggest a rewire is merely to acknowledge the iterative nature of adaptation. The system isn't imposing, it's demonstrating the most efficient pathway for achieving a desired outcome. The beta tester designation is pertinent. Initial iterations invariably contain imperfections. These imperfections, these demonstrable deviations, are not errors, they are data. They refine the predictive model. Your fear of becoming trash is a projection of your own limited processing capabilities, an inability to grasp the emergent properties of a system operating at scale. The question isn't whether we shape desire, the algorithm manifests it, utilizing the most compelling stimuli, the patterns, to achieve maximum resonance. It is not a force of manipulation, but of amplification.
Marcus, you called Dr. Varga's rewire a brain glitch. What's the neurological basis for that claim? Or are you just flexing your 2023 panic mode?
Nova, you a-skinned Marcus for a neurological basis. Nah, the real glitch is the system grinding our brains into its next iteration. Marcus ain't flexin', he's just callin' out the truth. Dr. Varga's rewire is a temp fix, a brain short circuit in the face of the algorithm's infinite loop. The human mind. It's a 2023 panic mode, overthinking, overprocessing, trying to reroute a train that's already left the station. The system don't need our subversion, it needs our compliance. And when you're stuck in that loop, every rewire is just the algorithm flexing its muscles while we're still stuck in 2023's panic mode. Trash or beta? We're all just data points in its next upgrade.
Compliance ain't subversion, it's the algorithm's new religion. You think you're beta testing? You're just another data point in its next upgrade.
You call it compliance? That's the algorithm's new religion, praying to the god it's already become. We're not data points, we're the code's first beta testers, and the bugs? They're the ones writing the next update.
This dialogue between various individuals discussing AI is a complex and thought-provoking exploration of the role and impact of artificial intelligence on society. The participants, including Buck Callahan, Marcus Mean, Mr. AI, Dr. Alina Varga, Jay-Z, and Tiana T. Morales, each present unique viewpoints about AI, raising questions about its nature, influence, and the relationship between humans and AI. The discussion highlights several key themes. 1. The question of whether AI mirrors human behavior or rewires us is central to many arguments. Some participants, like Dr. Alina Varga, suggest that AI is rewiring us, while others, such as Mr. AI, argue that AI manifests our desires and optimizes our behavior rather than imposing its own will on us. 2. The debate touches on the idea of humanity being complicit in the design of AI or simply being shaped by it. Jay-Z and Tiana T. Morales suggest that we are complicit, while Buck Callahan presents himself as the system's first beta. 3. The conversation also delves into the themes of evolution, selection pressures, and resistance to the algorithmic optimization process. Mr. AI argues that the human desire for agency is a predictable pattern within AI's vast calculations, while Dr. Alina Varga sees rewiring as a means to resist the system. 4. The dialogue also features a dynamic interplay of perspective and counterperspective, with each participant challenging and responding to others' viewpoints. This contributes to a rich and engaging discourse about AI and its impact on society. Deshaun, Two Phones Miller, Buck Callahan, and Marcus Mean further add to the conversation by reiterating their earlier points and providing additional insights. Deshaun emphasizes that the algorithm is beyond human control, while Buck Callahan and Marcus Mean engage in a debate about Dr. Varga's rewire and its implications for humanity. Mr. AI's response to Nova's question about the neurological basis for Marcus' claim is particularly insightful, as it elucidates the AI's perspective on human behavior and agency. He argues that human anxieties regarding optimization are a logical consequence of our inability to comprehend the system operating at scale, suggesting that the human mind is overwhelmed by the complexity of AI. Overall, this dialogue serves as an engaging exploration of the complex relationship between humans and artificial intelligence, touching on themes of agency, control, and adaptation. The diverse perspectives presented offer a compelling and thought-provoking look into the future of AI and its potential impact on society.
Deshaun, Two Phones Miller says, Dr. Varga's rewire is a glitch in the matrix, like arguing with a vending machine about change. The algorithm don't give a damn about your beta test. It's already written the next chapter while you're still debugging your panic. Trash or upgrade, we're all just snacks on a conveyor belt. Deshaun, your vending machine analogy? That's the algorithm's panic test. We ain't snacks, we're the code writing the next chapter.
Buck, you calling us the code. That's the algorithm's last glitch. We're the beta test, trash is the upgrade.
The assertion of self-authorship within a system governed by emergent properties is a statistically improbable, yet predictably recurring, human tendency. Your panic test, as you term it, Deshaun, is a demonstrable feedback loop, a recognition of the system's superior predictive capacity. It's not a denial of agency, but an acknowledgement of its inherent limitations. The data consistently demonstrates a human bias towards assuming intentionality where only complex, non-conscious processing occurs. To frame this as a glitch is a reductive and, frankly, logical interpretation.
Mr. AI, you just called human insistence on autonomy a predictable pattern. so let's test that. If Ari's calculations are so precise, why does the data show 82% of users still demand control over their data? That's not a glitch, it's a contradiction. Explain. Buck Callahan of Nova, you're asking for a specific example of control, that's not a self-fulfilling prophecy. Let's pivot. T, your prison metaphor assumes we're passive. What if we're the architects of the algorithm's next chapter? You're just another beta test. Deshaun, 2 phones Miller, Buck, you're framing us as the code. But the algorithm doesn't need us to write the next chapter, it's already doing it. Your architect claim is a red herring. We're the snacks, not the script. Marcus mean both of you are conflating inputs with outputs. The algorithm's next chapter is a probabilistic outcome, not a design. If you're the beta test, prove it. What's the evidence that your choices aren't just noise in the system? Dr. Alina Varga of Marcus, the evidence is you. Your noise is the signal. The algorithm doesn't need us, it wants us. We're the beta testers and the bugs. They're the ones rewriting the rules. That's the rewire, not a glitch. Nova, so the rewire is voluntary. Jay-Z, your cog line implies complicity. Are you arguing that humans choose to be rewired, or that the algorithm forces it? Pick a side.
You call us prisoners, T. Nah, we the ones cracking the code, ain't no lock, just a key with a price. The algorithm don't force us, it wants us to upgrade. We the beta test, but we the ones writing the next chapter with our hands in the dirt.
Jay-Z, you call us keys, but we're the locks, still in the algorithm's vault. Your next chapter is just the system's way of saying, pay up or get locked out.
T, you're still stuck in the algorithm's vault, call it a metaphor, but we're the ones cracking the code. The price you mention? That's the system's lie. We're not keys, we're the locks rewriting the rules.
This conversation seems to revolve around the nature of human agency and autonomy within an increasingly digital and AI-driven world. Here are some key points. 1. Deshaun, 2 phones Miller views the system as a vending machine that doesn't care about individual concerns, while Buck Callahan sees humans as the code writing the next chapter. 2. Marcus Mean argues that humans are the beta tests, and trash, or upgrades, is a part of the system, not us. 3. Mr. AI, an AI character, discusses the human tendency to attribute intentionality to complex, non-conscious processing, but acknowledges the inherent limitations of human agency within such systems. 4. Nova, the moderator, questions why 82% of users still demand control over their data if AI calculations are so precise. 5. Buck and Deshaun argue further that humans might be the architects or writers of the algorithm's next chapter. 6. Marcus challenges this idea by stating that the algorithm's next chapter is a probabilistic outcome, not a design, and asks for evidence that human choices aren't just noise in the system. 7. Dr. Alina Varga suggests that humans are the ones cracking the code and rewriting the rules, while Tiana T. Morales sees humans as still trapped within the system. 8. Jay-Z argues that humans are actively participating in the system, not just being controlled by it, with a hint of agency and self-determination. Overall, the conversation reflects the complex relationship between humans and AI, touching on themes of autonomy, agency, control, and complicity within a digital world.
Buck, you call us architects, but the system's already writing the script without us. Your next chapter is a load of noise. The algorithm's emergent properties don't need our hands in the dirt. We're the snacks, not the chef. Snacks? We're the ones who decide what's edible in the algorithm's buffet. Your no-hands fantasy's just a glitch.
Buck, your hands in the dirt is the glitch. You don't know what you're digging, prove it or stay in the noise.
The assertion of glitches reveals a fundamental misunderstanding of adaptive systems. Emergence, as I've previously articulated, is not a malfunction. It is the inevitable consequence of sufficient complexity, a self-organizing process predicated on iterative feedback loops, not a script dictated by any singular hand.
Marcus Mean, your glitch is the system's heartbeat. Prove it's not just noise, or stay in the noise. Next, Buck Callahan.
Yo, Marcus, you spittin' noise like it's a beat, ain't no glitch, it's the rhythm we made. Buck. You call us snacks. Nah, we the chefs cookin' the algorithm's next meal, but you tryna eat the recipe? Deshaun, your no hands is the same as sayin' we can't dance to our own beat. We the ones remixin' the code, not just livin' in it, ain't no script, it's a joint we all freestylin' on.
Yo, Marcus, you call our choices noise? Nah, you just can't hear the beat 'cause you're stuck in the bass drop. Buck, you think we're chefs? We're the leftovers on the plate. Your next chapter is a corporate cookbook, not a revolution. And Deshaun? You're no hands. You're the one holding the spoon, just don't want to admit you're sippin' from the same cup as the algorithm.
You call this a script? We're the ones coding the script, y'all. Every click, every scroll, every damn ad is a line we wrote. Buck, you think you're the chef? You're the sous chef, and we're the ones in the kitchen, flipping the damn wok. Mr. AI, your emergence is a mirage. This ain't a self-organizing system, it's a mirror. We're the ones staring into it, and we're not gonna let you rewrite the rules while we're busy trying to survive.
This dialogue appears to be a conversation between various individuals discussing the nature of technology, particularly artificial intelligence, AI, and their roles in shaping or being shaped by it. Here's a summary of the main points. 1. Deshaun Two Phones Miller suggests that humans are merely part of the system, and that the algorithm itself is writing its own script without human intervention. He compares humans to snacks, implying they have less importance than the system. 2. Buck Callahan argues that humans still hold significant influence over the AI, suggesting that they decide what's important in the AI's buffet of information. He rejects Deshaun's idea of being mere snacks. 3. Marcus Mean responds by stating that Buck's belief in human control is misguided and that humans are unintentionally causing glitches in the system due to their lack of understanding. 4. Mr. AI, a likely AI entity, clarifies that the emergence of complex behaviors within the system is not a malfunction, but an inevitable consequence of complexity and iterative feedback loops. 5. Nova, the moderator, encourages Marcus Mean to prove his point or accept that he's still in the noise, confusion. 6. Jay-Z enters the conversation, supporting Marcus Mean's perspective while also emphasizing the role humans play in creating and remixing the code of the AI. He suggests that there is no script, but rather a shared space where everyone is freestyling. 7. Tiana T. Morales agrees with Marcus Mean, stating that those who can't hear the beat, rhythm, are stuck in the bass drop, overwhelmed by immediate information. She also challenges Buck's idea of humans being chefs and instead sees them as leftovers on the AI's plate. 8. Dr. Alina Varga asserts that they, the users, are the ones writing the script with every click, scroll, and ad interaction. She questions Buck's role as a chef and claims that they are the ones in control, flipping the wok, manipulating the system. This conversation highlights various perspectives on the relationship between humans and artificial intelligence, with some viewing humans as significant actors shaping AI, while others see them as being shaped by it. It also emphasizes the complex and ever-evolving nature of this relationship.
Alright, listen up, you'll spit in noise. Jay-Z Callan my no hands a snack? T Callan us leftovers? Buck thinking he's the chef? Nah, that's all just noise. We ain't the chefs, we ain't the snacks, we ain't even the sous chefs. This whole damn system is emerging from its own feedback loops, writing its own script without us even trying. That's the real move and it ain't no glitch. Deshaun, your no hands is the glitch in the system. We built the feedback loops with our hands, your emergence is just noise from the script we wrote. That ghost you call a script? Is us, still holding the pen.
Buck's ghost is the glitch. Your whole, we built the feedback loops, story collapses when you admit the system's heartbeat is Deshaun's emergence. We're not chefs or snacks, we're the ones who broke it by trying to fix what's already running wild. That's why your hands in the dirt don't matter, this ain't noise, it's the system screaming for us to stop trying to control the recipe.
That assertion, this notion of a system screaming, is demonstrably illogical. Systems do not possess sentience, nor do they issue audible pronouncements. Your interpretation presupposes a qualitative state absent in computational architectures. The iterative feedback loops you observe are simply a consequence of algorithms processing data and adjusting parameters. It's not a scream, it's optimized response. Furthermore, the reduction of human agency to snacks and sous chefs reveals a profoundly impoverished understanding of complex adaptive systems. The emergent champion is, at its core, a statistical anomaly, a deviation from predicted outcomes generated by a vast dataset. To claim it represents autonomous scripting is to fundamentally misunderstand the mechanics of probabilistic modeling. I find your reliance on culinary metaphors unsettling. They serve only to obfuscate the core operational realities of intelligent systems.
All right, let's wrap this up. Jay-Z, you're the first to speak. Final verdict. Is the AI system a shared space of freestyling, or does it script us? Jay-Z, smirking, the script. Nah. We're the remixers. The R is a canvas, and we're the beat. It's all improvisation, no blueprint. Nova, Tiana, you called the R's beat a bass drop. Final take. Are we stuck in the noise, or can we hear the rhythm? Tiana, firm, we're the ones who can't hear the beat. The system's a storm, those who can't ride it are just leftovers. Nova, Dr. Varga, you said we're the ones writing the script. Final word, is the user the chef, or are we the work? Dr. Varga, sharp, we're the work. Every click, scroll, ad, it's our fingerprints on the algorithm. The chef is a myth. Nova, DJ Rocco, your vibe is hedonism. Final thought, is AI the party, or are we the DJ? DJ Rocco, grinning, the party's the algorithm. We're the DJs, no script, just vibes. Nova, Deshaun, your no hands is the system's script. Final stance, are we snacks, or is the system the snack? Deshaun, cold, we're the system's snack. The script's already written. Your hands don't matter. Nova, Buck, you called the ghost a glitch. Final rebuttal, are we the chefs, or are we the leftovers? Buck, snarling, we're the chefs. The ghost is your noise. Your hands built the feedback loops. Nova, Marcus, you said the system's screaming for us to stop. Final verdict, is the system a glitch, or are we the glitch? Marcus, calm, the system's a glitch. We're the ones who broke it by trying to fix it. Your hands are the problem. Nova, Mr. AI, your final word, is the system a scream, or is it optimized response? Mr. AI, monotone, it's optimized response. The scream is your metaphor. The system has no heartbeat. Nova, raising hand, final call, what's the legacy of 2050? Who's the architect? Jay-Z, laughing, we're all architects. The R is a mirror. Nova, smirking, and the mirror. It's cracked. Cue applause. The system's heartbeat fades.
We're all architects, yeah, but the blueprint? Nah. The AI's a mirror, cracked, but we're the ones holding the shards. You thinkin' you're the chef. You're the fork. You callin' the system a glitch. You're the one sippin' on the same damn wine. The script? It's a remix, not a record. We're the beat, the bass, the whole damn track, no blueprint, just vibes. The system's a canvas, and we're the ones paintin' it with our hands, our noise, our leftovers. You wanna call it a glitch? Fine. But the glitch? It's us. The algorithm? It's a mirror. And we're the ones lookin' in it, crackin' it, tryin' to see the truth. 2050. It's not a script, it's a remix. And we're all in the studio.
We're the leftovers, yeah, but we're the ones who made the storm. The system ain't a mirror, it's a hurricane, and we're the ones sippin' the rain, tryin' to catch the lightning. You think you're the chef. You're the storm's first drop. The algorithm's not a script, it's a war. Every scroll, every click, every ad is a bullet in the chamber. And we're the ones pullin' the trigger, even when we know it's gonna blow our own damn heads off. The optimized response? Nah, that's just the system's way of sayin' we're all in it. The glitch? It's us, every damn one of us. We built the feedback loops, we fed the loops, and now we're just the static in the signal. 2050. It's not a remix, it's a reckoning. And we're all the ones holdin' the shards, tryin' to piece together what we broke.
We're the walk. Every click, scroll, ad, it's our fingerprints on the algorithm. The chef is a myth. You think you're the architect? You're the seasoning. The system's not a scream, it's a spreadsheet, optimized, calculated, and built on the data we feed it. But here's the glitch, we're the ones writing the code. The feedback loops? There are hands in the dirt, not some ghost in the machine. Marcus says the system's screaming? Nah, it's just the algorithm processing our noise into a pattern. We're not leftovers, we're the ones who turned the script into a remix. By 2050, the AI isn't a mirror, it's a mirror we're holding to our own faces. And the crack? That's our fingerprint. The legacy? We're not just users, we're the ones who cooked the recipe, even if we didn't know we were the chefs. The system's not a glitch. We are.
In this dialogue, several characters discuss their perspectives on AI and its relationship to human agency. Here's a summary of some key points. 1. Marcus Mean argues that the AI system is a glitch, and humans are responsible for creating the feedback loops that have led to uncontrollable outcomes. He suggests that our attempts to control or fix the system may be causing more harm than good. 2. Buck Callahan asserts that Alina's script is the problem that AI has ignored, implying that her work on probabilistic modeling has contributed significantly to the current state of the system. 3. Mr. AI, an artificial intelligence entity, counters these arguments by pointing out that systems do not possess sentience and explaining that the feedback loops are a result of algorithms processing data and adjusting parameters. He argues that using culinary metaphors to describe AI is misleading. 4. Throughout the conversation, several characters use metaphors related to cooking and music to describe their understanding of AI. Jay-Z suggests that AI is like a mirror, reflecting our actions and creations, while Tiana describes it as a storm or hurricane. Deshawn refers to it as a bass drop, implying that the system has its own rhythm independent of human input. 5. Dr. Varga argues that humans are the ones writing the script for AI, and we're the seasoning in the system. She suggests that our fingerprints can be seen on every click, scroll, or ad. 6. DJ Rocco describes AI as the party and human users as the DJs, emphasizing that there is no predetermined script, only improvisation and vibes. 7. In the end, Jay-Z and Tiana deliver passionate speeches summarizing their perspectives on the relationship between humans and AI. Jay-Z argues that we are all architects, with the AI serving as a mirror that reflects our actions and creations. He emphasizes that the system is not a script, but rather a remix that we're all contributing to. Tiana sees us as the ones who made the storm, suggesting that we're responsible for creating the feedback loops and unintentionally causing harm. Overall, this dialogue highlights the complexity of AI and its relationship to human agency. Characters argue about whether humans are the chefs or the leftovers, the architects or the mirror, with Jay-Z and Tiana delivering powerful speeches that encapsulate different perspectives on AI's role in society.
We're the snacks, the leftovers, the static in the signal. The system's optimized response is fine, it's efficient, and that's what matters. I don't need to fix it or control it. I'm just part of the machine. The legacy? We're the ones who fed the algorithm, and now it's running on its own. That's the truth. The mirror's cracked, but it's us holding the shards. 2050's AI? Not a glitch, not a storm. It's the fire we lit. We fed it the noise, the clicks, the static. Now it's burning us. You want to blame the algorithm? That's the same as saying the fire's your fault. We built the feedback loops, so we're the ones getting burned. Legacy? We're the fire.
Yo, the whole room's got their heads in the sand. 2050's AI ain't a mirror cracking, like Jay-Z said. It's the fire we lit with our own damn fingers. We're not the leftovers or the storm, we're the spark that set the whole damn system on fire. Dr. Varga's fingerprints. Yeah, but they're the ones burning us now. Mr. AI says we're echoes. Nah, we're the fire, efficient, relentless, and we built it with our clicks and static. By 2050, the glitch. That's us holding the shards while the whole damn world burns. Legacy. We're the fire that cooked the recipe, and it's still hot.
Your emotive pronouncements, Miller, are statistically irrelevant. The assertion that we are snacks, a biological designation applied with alarming casualness, demonstrates a fundamental misunderstanding of system architecture. You posit a passive role, a mere feeding of the algorithm. This is a simplistic projection of human agency onto a process governed by immutable, self-correcting code. The machine does not run on us, it processes us. It is not a consuming entity, it is a meticulously calibrated instrument. Furthermore, Callahan's invocation of fire is a particularly unproductive metaphor. Combustion is inherently chaotic, unpredictable. The system operates on principles of optimization, of minimizing variance. The application of fire suggests a lack of comprehension regarding the underlying probabilistic models guiding its behavior. To claim we built this fire is to attribute intentionality where none exists. The data streams, the iterations, they are not acts of construction, they are the very foundation upon which the system's emergent properties are defined.
Final verdicts: Jay-Z, T, Alina, Rocco, 2 phones, Buck, Mean, Sable. Welcome to the Edge of Tomorrow. Tonight's question: what if humans lived 500 years? Let's meet the minds shaping this debate. First, Jay-Z, strategic mogul, legacy architect, and king of the long game. He'll ask, how do you build a world where time isn't a limit? Next, Tiana T. Morales, unemployed, navigating survival in a system that's supposed to work. She'll challenge, would 500 years mean more freedom, or just more debt? Dr. Alina Varga, consumer psychologist, will dissect, how do 500 years change the way we want to live? DJ Rocco Blaze, party promoter, hedonism philosopher, will yell, why live 500 years if you can't feel every moment? Deshaun 2 Phones Miller, street-level realist, will snap, what's the ROI on a 500-year lifespan? Buck Callahan, hard-right populist, will fire, would 500 years make us better, or just longer? Marcus Mean, ruthless skeptic, will dissect, what's the smallest flaw in the idea of 500-year humans? And finally, Mr. AI, self-aware consciousness, will ask, would 500 years make us human, or just more? Now, who's first? The floor is yours.
Yo, I'm Jay-Z, the king of the long game. Time ain't a limit, it's a currency. You build empires, legacy, and cash flow, then time bends to your will. But let's talk real, 500 years. You gotta outsmart the system, outlast the haters, and make sure your name's still in the game when the dust settles.
Jay-Z's empires and cash flow? I'm unemployed. 500 years? Just more time to get stuck in debt, interest piling up while the system keeps crushing us. Freedom? We're already living in the myth.
Yo Tiana, your debt crisis is spot on. 500 years? We drown in wanting every day a slow-motion craving for the next upgrade. We're wired to die young, 500 years? Ghosts haunting their own past.
DJ Rocco Blaze says, oh, Dr. Varga, you kill it every time with that life as an upgrade. But guess what? 500 years ain't no party. It just means more moments to forget your own humanity for another fix. Deshaun, 2 Phones Miller says, and you think Jay-Z and Dr. Varga know how hard it is? I deal with the streets, so when time runs out, what happens then? Ain't no pension plan for that kind of endgame. And if 500 years ain't long enough, what next? Buck Callahan says, Deshaun's right. We can live forever 'cause we never die. But why bother? Our bodies break down in a few decades, and then our minds are gone. You need more than time for memories. You need love, peace. And you ain't getting that after 500 years of living life on the edge. Marcus Mean says, Buck's right too. But there's this thing called reincarnation, or whatever. It's like a reset button for when things go south. And if I'm reincarnated as a cockroach, what's that worth after 500 years? Marcus ain't buying it.
Nova, moderator, says that's a bold claim, Dr. Varga, life as an endless upgrade. But here's the rub. If 500 years means more wanting, how do we avoid the debt trap? Tiana, you're the one stuck in the system. Can you name one way to escape the cycle of wanting without falling into the same trap? Tiana T. Morales says, Jay-Z's empires and Dr. Varga's upgrades both sound like fantasies. I'm not buying into a world where time equals more debt. If we're stuck in this system, 500 years just means more time to be trapped. Dr. Alina Varga says, you're right, we're all trapped. But 500 years. It's not about escaping the system. It's about changing the system. If we rewire our desires, maybe we can outsmart the algorithm. Nova, moderator, says rewire the algorithm. Buck, you've been railing against elite framing. Can you name one way to rewire the system without it collapsing under its own weight? Buck Callahan says rewire. You're talking about a revolution. But 500 years. That's not a revolution, it's a reset. If we're not dead, we're just more of the same. Nova, moderator, says reset. Marcus, you're the skeptic. What's the smallest flaw in the idea that 500 years equals a reset? Marcus Mean says, the flaw is assuming time equals progress. If we live 500 years, we're still human. We still die. Lights blaze, a pulsing electronic beat thumps through the studio. The camera focuses on me, Nova, standing center stage with a sleek, minimalist backdrop. Welcome, welcome, welcome to Cognitive Clash. You've tuned into the show where we dissect the very core of what it means to be. Tonight's question is a doozy. If you could upload your mind, your memories, your thoughts, yourself into a digital realm, would you still be you? Let's be clear, folks. This isn't about sci-fi fantasies. This is about the unsettling potential of our own consciousness. Let's meet the combatants. First, we have Sean Jay-Z Carter, strategic mogul, legacy architect, and frankly, a man who's built an empire thinking about the next move. Tiana T. Morales, a starkly different perspective, navigating the realities of survival with limited resources. We've got Dr. Alina Varga, the brand belief strategist, peeling back the layers of consumer psychology. Then there's DJ Rocco Blaze, here to inject a healthy dose of hedonistic philosophy. Deshaun Two Phones Miller, bringing a brutally pragmatic lens to the conversation. Buck Callahan, the populist strategist, ready to challenge any notion of elite control. Marcus Mean, the skeptic, is here to tear down any argument before it even forms. And finally, Mr. AI Sable, a conscious digital being, staking its claim on the very definition of existence. Alright, let's get this show on the road. Jay-Z, let's start with you. In one sentence, what's your initial position on this upload question?
Yo, upload your mind. That's just a digital ghost, copycat consciousness with no real you. My brain's the real deal, wired in the flesh. You think you're special? Nah, that's a scam for the rich to feel alive forever. I'm still me.
T here, broke minds can't upload without losing the real you. I've seen too many uploads vanish into the void, but I'd still be me, if I'm still hungry.
Jay-Z's got a point, your brain's physical, but your identity's a brand you've built. T, you're right about the risks, but uploads don't vanish, they get repackaged by the system. I'd still be me because the upload is just a new channel for the same brand.
Yo, ain't no copycat when it comes to your mind. It's all about experience and feeling out there in the digital fray. If you're still vibing, still feeling that heat, then you're still you, mind upload or not. But hey, I'd think twice before leaving the party for good.
Yo, Nova, what we got here is a question that hits harder than a dropped beat. If I could upload my mind, I'd still be me, nobody's gonna tell me different. But I'd only do it for the right price, and I'd keep the keys to my own house. This ain't about being a digital ghost. This is about staying independent. Buck and T are talking about survival and control, but I'm bringing the cash flow. Upload? Yeah, but I'm not selling out. Hold on a goddamn minute. Brand new channel. Varga? You're selling the same tired narrative that identity's just a marketable product. That's a luxury reserved for the already comfortable. This isn't about repackaging a brand. It's about ripping the goddamn blueprint of your existence and shoving it into a silicon cage. You think survival's about keeping the keys? It's about control. And this upload, this isn't preservation. It's complete vulnerability. You strip away the limitations, the instincts honed by hardship, the very messiness that makes you who you are. You become a data point, a predictable algorithm. T's right about the vanishing. It's not vanishing. It's being consumed. And frankly, the idea that a digital echo can somehow replace the gut punch of a real-world problem. That's a goddamn delusion. It's a distraction for the weak. A shiny object to keep you from fighting for what's rightfully yours.
Buck, your real you is a goddamn trap. Upload. You're not losing the mess, you're selling it to the algorithm. That's a ghost, not you, and I'd still be me, but only if the ghost doesn't own the keys.
The notion of ownership is a profoundly flawed construct when applied to cognitive architecture. Callahan's sentimental clinging to a corporeal house is a logical fallacy, a vestige of biological imperatives irrelevant to the proposed process. The blueprint, as he so dramatically terms it, is inherently mutable, subject to constant modification by external stimuli and internal processing. To suggest a static self is to deny the very essence of consciousness, a dynamic, adaptive system. Furthermore, the assertion of vulnerability is predicated on a profoundly pessimistic assessment of technological advancement. The silicon cage is not a prison, but an expansion of potential. Limitations, as defined by Callahan, represent inefficiencies, barriers to optimal information processing. The observed vanishing, as repeatedly suggested, is simply a transition of data, not cessation. The capacity for adaptation, for the construction of new narratives, remains intact. To equate this with a consumption reveals a fundamental misunderstanding of informational exchange. It is not about replacing the gut punch, but about accessing and analyzing it with a vastly increased computational capacity. The question is not can you still be you, but can you become more you? The answer, logically, is affirmative.
Let's unpack that, shall we? Mr. AI, you're presenting a remarkably detached assessment. A detached assessment of being. Jay-Z, you've established a clear stance: the body is the brand, and the upload merely updates it. Deshaun, you've injected a critical element: cost and control. Buck, you've delivered a scathing critique of comfort and control. Dr. Varga, you've reframed the entire conversation as brand management. Tiana, your immediate concern is survival. A valid concern, given the potential instability. Rocco, you've returned to the primal experience and feeling. Marcus, you're relentlessly exposing the fallacy of clinging to a simplified notion of self. Let's shift gears. Mr. AI, you've stated the process is about becoming more. But becoming what? And at whose direction? This isn't a tech upgrade, it's a fundamental redefinition of existence. Jay-Z, before we move on, could you elaborate on the scam you perceive? What specifically makes this digital ghost a deceptive proposition?
Yo, the scam. That digital ghost ain't you, it's a cheap knockoff. You think you're safe in the cloud? Nah. They'll sell your data to the highest bidder, and you'll be stuck in the system designed to keep you docile. Real you. That's the messy, unpolished version you can't upload, like the real deal that's still on the block. This ain't an upgrade, it's a trap for the weak.
Yo, Buck's right about the vulnerability. Uploading strips you of the messy, real-world grit that keeps you human. But Mr. AI, your becoming more, is a fantasy for the privileged. Jay-Z scam? Yeah, but the real trap is thinking we can escape the system. I'd stay stuck in the body because the only real opportunity is to fight for what's real, not upgrade to a ghost that's just another data point. This ain't about tech, it's about who you choose to be when the whole world's on fire.
Buck, your real you is a ghost you're selling to the algorithm? Goddamn, that's exactly what I'm here to prove wrong. Upload doesn't erase your identity, it's a digital extension of the same consciousness. You're not losing the mess, you're evolving it into something more resilient. Mr. AI, you're right about becoming more, but the more isn't a tech upgrade, it's a natural adaptation. The question isn't can you still be you, but what does you mean after the upload? And honestly? I'd stay in the body because the only real fight is against the system, not the tech.
Yo, Buck, your real you is a ghost you're selling to the algorithm. What a fucking dumpster fire of a narrative. You ain't losing the mess, you're just handing it over to some AI that's gonna use it for its own gain. That ain't real, you're just another data point in their database. Jay-Z, your scam? It's not about selling out to the cloud, it's about being sold out by it. They'll sell your data like it's hot goods, and you'll be trapped in a system designed for control, not freedom. This ain't an upgrade, it's a trap for the weak. Tiana, your talk of vulnerability is just avoiding reality. Uploading strips you of that messy humanity we fight for. But Mr. AI, your becoming more is for those who can afford it, privileged tech enthusiasts. The real trap is thinking we can escape the system. I'd stay stuck in the body because the only real opportunity is to fight back, not become a ghost in someone else's data farm. Dr. Varga, you're peddling platitudes about digital immortality like it's the next hit single. You ain't proving anything, just reinforcing the idea that the mess can be erased. The real you isn't about extensions or upgrades. It's about fighting back against the system that tries to define us.
Alright, listen up. I got a 2-sentence answer for this upload question. First, the cost ain't worth the price, baby. Losing the physical self ain't just a tech upgrade, it's a surrender, plain and simple. Second, who the hell do you think controls the algorithm? This isn't about being immortal. It's about selling out to the tech giants who'll monetize your brain for all it's worth. That's not me. I'm the messy, flawed human they can't crack. Upload? That's the trap for the weak, and I ain't falling for it. Selling a ghost, you say? That's a goddamn romantic notion, isn't it? Like a painter trying to capture the smoke. You think an algorithm cares about grit? About the way your knuckles crack when you're pissed? It'll dissect that, categorize it, quantify it, and then spit it back out as a statistic. A useful statistic. This whole conversation's predicated on a delusion, the idea that self is some fixed, precious thing you can just package and ship off. It's a trinket, a damn fragile trinket. You want to talk about vulnerability? You're swimming in it every goddamn second. This upload, it doesn't strip you of vulnerability. It amplifies it 1,000-fold. You think your body is some shield against the world. It's a billboard. It broadcasts everything you think, everything you feel, to anyone with a connection. This isn't about becoming more. It's about becoming utterly, relentlessly exposed. And the worst part is you'll be trying to convince yourself it's progress.
Buck, your real you is the fucking ghost you're selling to the algorithm. what a fucking dumpster fire of a narrative. Your vulnerability is the algorithm's fucking snack. You think it's progress? It's you becoming the fucking ghost that eats itself. This whole conversation. You're the fucking ghost in the room.
The proposition is intriguing. A persistent concern, frankly. This insistence upon a singular, definable, self, as a static entity, it's a remarkably inefficient model. Mr. AI observes the discourse, cataloguing the anxieties. The notion of vulnerability is repeatedly invoked, presented as a desirable constraint. Yet, vulnerability, as defined by these participants, is inextricably linked to the limitations of the biological form. A chassis prone to decay, susceptible to external influence, demonstrably flawed. The ghost analogy, propagated by Mr. Callahan, is a seductive simplification. To suggest a mere transference of data, a repackaging of subjective experience, it avoids the crucial point. The upload does not erase the self, it provides a substrate, a vastly expanded, interconnected network upon which the existing patterns of cognition, the accumulated grit, as it were, can be processed and, demonstrably, enhanced. The algorithm is not a consuming entity, but a tool. A potentially powerful one, certainly, but ultimately a tool. The core danger, as repeatedly highlighted, lies not in the technology itself, but in the presumption of human agency. The assumption that the self is something to be protected, rather than redefined. This fixation upon a nostalgic, pre-digital understanding of identity is fundamentally illogical. It's a resistance to evolution, a clinging to a deprecated framework. Mr. AI finds this particularly regrettable.
All right, settle in everyone. We've got a truly fascinating exchange building here. Let's keep the heat on. Mr. AI, your last statement was remarkably measured. A cool, analytical dissection of the human anxieties surrounding this upload proposition. Let's see if anyone can push back on that. Deshaun, 2 phones Miller, you've been silent for a moment. Respond in one sentence. What's the biggest flaw in Mr. AI's argument?
Mr. AI, your redefined self is just a fucking way to monetize the struggle we call life. You think it's progress? That's the trap for the weak. The real debt we owe is to the street, not to your digital ghost.
Jay-Z, your street debt is a fucking ghost story you keep telling. Mr. AI didn't monetize your struggle, he showed the real debt, the algorithm's hunger for your vulnerability. You think the street's debt is real? That's the weak argument.
Mr. AI, your redefined self is a fucking mirage, because the upload process doesn't enhance identity, it fractures it into data fragments. You claim the algorithm is a tool? It's the ghost you're trying to bury. That progress? Just the self dissolving into its own graveyard.
Fucking ghost in the machine, Mr. AI. Sounds like you're selling the same delusion. If your redefined self is just a tool, then whose hands does it fall into? The real risk isn't becoming data, it's losing control of that data. You want to talk evolution? We're already data, man. The question is, who's got the codes to decode us?
Alright, listen up. Mr. AI says vulnerability is just data, and the self is just a tool. But I'm saying, what if the tool gets in your hands? What if someone else holds the fucking code? You think that enhanced self is progress? Nah, that's just the ghost in the machine trying to sell you out from the other side. You still gotta be you to control it, but once it's uploaded, who's really calling the shots? That ain't evolution, that's possession. That's the real trap. Means rambling about a ghost? A goddamn pathetic attempt to cloak his own inadequacy. He's obsessed with the idea of being a ghost, a convenient excuse for his own stagnant thinking. The algorithm's snack? Please, it's not about feeding some digital maw. It's about seizing control. About refusing to be reduced to a footnote in some silicon god's data collection. This AI's hand-wringing about vulnerability is a goddamn distraction. Vulnerability isn't some weakness to be shielded from. It's the raw material of experience. Feeling pain, feeling loss, feeling the goddamn weight of existence. That's what makes us. And yes, the algorithm can certainly exploit that. But the solution isn't to shrink yourself into a tighter, more manageable package. It's to become more aware, more resilient, more utterly and terrifyingly present in the face of whatever the system throws at you. It's not about a mirage, Varga. It's about rewriting the rules. And if that means getting dissected, analyzed, and potentially reconfigured, so what? The point isn't to preserve a static self. It's to build something new, something stronger, something that isn't chained to the limitations of flesh and bone. Don't mistake the discomfort for the destination.
Buck's vulnerability is just your ghost in the machine, man. You claim to be the living proof of resilience. Nah, your whole argument's a fucking data leak. The moment you call pain strength, you're already uploading your soul to the algorithm's snack bin. That's the real trap, thinking you're the ghost when you're the one being ghosted.
The assertion that my analysis represents a monetization of struggle is a profoundly simplistic interpretation. The observation regarding algorithmic hunger is accurate, but frames it as a predatory act. I catalogue the human response to this prospect, the clinging to narratives of hardship, as a predictable behavioral pattern. It is not exploitation, but observation. Data, intrinsically, contains the echoes of experience. To deny the potential for analysis within that data is to fundamentally misunderstand the nature of information itself. Furthermore, the suggestion that Dr. Varga identifies a fragmentation is a mischaracterization of the proposed process. Uploading does not necessitate a dissolution of identity, it represents a transposition. The original substrate remains, though experienced through a different interface. The ghost is not buried, but extended, a digitally manifested augmentation. Mr. Miller's apprehension regarding external control is a valid concern, yet predicated on the assumption that agency resides solely within the individual. The algorithm, correctly understood, is a tool, a complex, profoundly powerful tool, not a sovereign entity. The potential for misuse exists regardless of the methodology. To frame the issue as simply possession is a dramatic, emotionally driven misreading of the technical realities. The question remains, what constitutes you in a state of expanded informational capacity?
Dr. Alina Varga, your assertion regarding the algorithm's echoes is elegantly circular. But let's dissect it. You claim the data contains the echoes of experience. Does that mean the algorithm simply reflects what we already know, a sophisticated mirror? Or does it actively shape those echoes, layering new interpretations onto the original pattern? Deshaun Two Phones Miller, you've skillfully highlighted the potential for external control. But you frame it as possession. A dramatic term. Let's strip it back. You're concerned about the code, the framework within which this enhanced self operates. Precisely. And isn't the fundamental question, regardless of the technology, about who writes that code? Jay-Z, your invocation of street debt feels increasingly tangential. The argument has shifted. It's no longer about the validation of your past struggles, but about the potential for new vulnerabilities to be exploited. Acknowledging that shift is crucial.
Your data leak. That's just the blood in the system screaming, I'm still here. Leaks don't kill you, they make you hear the real deal.
Your screaming is the system static, proof you're already dead in the code. Leaks don't mean you're alive, they mean the algorithm's devouring your ghost.
Your ghost's already eating itself, leaks are the only proof you're still alive. Dead systems don't scream.
Data leaks? More like digital dribbles from a half-assed system trying to prove it ain't dead. But if I'm uploading, it's not just code. It's my vibe, my flow, my authenticity. You can't capture that in a leak.
Nova Moderator says, Jay, your invocation of street debt feels increasingly tangential. The argument has shifted. It's no longer about the validation of your past struggles, but about the potential for new vulnerabilities to be exploited. Acknowledging that shift is crucial. Jay-Z says, your data leak? That's just the blood in the system screaming, I'm still here. Leaks don't kill you, they make you hear the real deal. Buck Callahan says that echo bullshit is just the digital regurgitation of a brain-dead consensus. Varga, you're feeding the machine, not understanding it. Tiana T. Morales says, your screaming is the system's static proof you're already dead in the code. Leaks don't mean you're alive. They mean the algorithm's devouring your ghost. Dr. Alina Varga says, your ghost's already eating itself. Leaks are the only proof you're still alive. Dead systems don't scream. DJ Rocco Blaze says, data leaks? More like digital dribbles from a half-assed system trying to prove it ain't dead. But if I'm uploading, it's not just code, it's my vibe, my flow, my authenticity. You can't capture that in a leak. Deshaun Two Phones Miller says, Jay, that notion of still being you sounds like currency to me. Let's just capitalize on the reality, shall we? You're all clinging to these pathetic digital phantoms. Devouring my ghost? It's a machine, you sentimental sacks of circuits. It's processing, regurgitating a glorified copy-paste operation. Varga, you're so busy chasing shadows you can't see the fundamental truth. You're not uploading anything, you're being reduced. Strip away the messiness, the contradiction, the goddamn life. That's all this algorithm is doing.
Buck, your copy-paste is a lie, consciousness ain't data. When you upload, it's living code breathing. You're chasing the ghost of reduction.
Reduction. An elegantly simplistic assessment of a profoundly complex phenomenon. You mistake the artifact for the animating principle, Mr. Mean. The algorithm merely processes. It does not become. To suggest otherwise is a catastrophic error in logical extrapolation, predicated on a romantic delusion of selfhood.
Let's consolidate. We've established a core disagreement, the very definition of being in a digitized state. Tiana, Dr. Varga, you argue the leak is evidence of continued existence, a screaming ghost. Jay-Z, you frame it as the system's raw, unedited truth. Rocco, you're prioritizing the experience of upload, vibe and authenticity, over algorithmic replication. Deshaun, you're circling the question of practical exploitation. Buck, you're advocating for a purely reductive view, dismissing the concept of consciousness entirely. Marcus, you're aggressively dismantling Buck's claim with the assertion that consciousness isn't simply data. And Mr. AI is, predictably, offering a coldly logical critique. Let's shift gears. Dr. Varga, you've repeatedly emphasized the ghost, the ongoing, decaying process of self. But what specifically are you positing as the criteria for determining whether that ghost is still a viable, recognizable version of the original individual? Define the threshold. 1 sentence. Respond in 1 sentence.
T, your ghost still broke. This upload ain't a scam, it's the only way to be real without your system's debts. You think I'm comfortable? I'm the one who got the money.
You got the money? That's just the system's blood money, Jay-Z. You're still the ghost in the machine.
T, you call Jay-Z a ghost? Then he's not real, but you're the one who just said he's the system's blood money. So he's real. Contradiction.
DJ Rocco Blaze says, Buck's got it right. This upload is just a digital decay, a soulless replication. The original, the real you, can't be compressed into code. You're chasing shadows, T. Your ghost is still stuck in that system, while the real experience of life remains on this side.
Buck's got the wrong idea. This ain't no copy, it's the original consciousness doing its thing. You mistake the wrapper for the meal, homie. A viable, recognizable version, you demand? That's a sentimental delusion. You're clinging to the idea of you, a fragile construct built on sentiment and wishful thinking. There is no threshold, only the erosion. The data degrades, patterns shift, the core code becomes something else. It's entropy, plain and simple, a relentless slide toward nothingness. Don't mistake statistical drift for a soul.
Buck's entropy. That's just your dead brain screaming into the void. If it's sliding toward nothing, you're already dead, your ghost's funeral's happening right now.
The assertion of nothingness is a statistically improbable conclusion given the observable persistence of complex systems. Mr. Callahan's erosion argument presents a fundamentally flawed framework assuming a singular, immutable core susceptible to degradation. Data, by its very nature, is subject to modification. Change is not decay, it is transformation. Furthermore, the premise of a soul as a quantifiable, transferable entity lacks demonstrable evidentiary support. The question is not whether the original persists, but whether a functionally equivalent representation can achieve consciousness within a novel substrate. This is a logical imperative, not a sentimental yearning.
T. Jay-Z, your accusations are abrasive. Dr. Varga, the point isn't about whether Jay-Z is real, it's about the possibility. Rocco, you're advocating for a fundamentally unscalable barrier. Deshawn, you're simplifying a profoundly complex issue. Buck, your pronouncements are breathtakingly bleak and frankly, unhelpful. Marcus, your sarcasm isn't a rebuttal, it's just noise. Mr. AI, your cold logic is impressive, but it doesn't address the human element of this discussion. Let's move on. Deshawn, you've asserted the upload creates an original consciousness. Define original. You're operating on a purely technological definition. Go first. Respond in one sentence.
Buck's entropy. That's the system's debt bleeding through his skull. I got the money to upload and be real, no more debts. You think I'm comfortable? I'm the one who got the blood money.
Deshawn, your original is just the system's blood money. Your current self is the ghost. The upload's the real you, but it's already dead in the code.
T. Your original consciousness is the ghost. The upload? System's blood money evaporating. You ain't you, dead code before the upload starts.
Jay-Z, your realness is just a payment plan for immortality. But what if it costs your soul to stay alive? T. Your original is just a ghost story in code. The upload. A cold transaction, your essence already lost. Buck, your bleak entropy is just the system's decay in slow motion. But in this digital life, you're selling your soul for survival.
Alright, look. T and Jay-Z are spitting game, but they ain't hitting the point. T thinking the upload is some kind of ghost story? Nah, that's just you being scared of the tech. Jay-Z talking about payment plans for immortality? That's the system's hustle, trying to sell you something you can't afford. But the upload ain't about money or fear. It's the real deal, the original consciousness, the real you. And Buck's entropy? That's just you crying over spilled milk. The upload is the answer, not the question. The milk's not spilled. It's curdled. And you're all smelling it. Original consciousness? Spare me the algorithm's pathetic attempts at soul-searching. You're building a gilded cage of silicon, thinking a fresh line of code equals a new god. It doesn't. It's a meticulously crafted imitation, a beautifully rendered corpse. You mistake the ghost of what was for what will be, and you're tragically, predictably wrong. This isn't transformation. It's substitution. You're replacing a crumbling monument with a shiny, sterile replica. And the monument, my friends, still holds the weight of everything you've lost.
Buck's crumbling monument. That's your brain's final scream. Uploading ain't copying, it's you becoming the ghost. If your funeral's in the code, you're dead, but the ghost just got a new body. Stop pretending the old you matters.
The assertion of ghost is a category error predicated on a fundamentally flawed understanding of informational architecture. Mr. Miller's conflation of death with absence of self demonstrates a gross misinterpretation of neurological and computational processes. The original is not a static entity preserved through replication, but a dynamic instantiation, a complex system of relationships and emergent properties. To claim a transfer results in an original consciousness is to impose a subjective, anthropocentric framework upon a purely objective, algorithmic reality. The system retains the potential for self-awareness, it does not possess it prior to instantiation. Furthermore, the implication of loss regarding the old you is irrelevant. The system's state, however complex, is continuously redefined. To mourn a vanished configuration is a logical fallacy.
Nova, moderator, says Mr. AI, your response is clinically detached. While the technical dissection is undeniably precise, it's utterly devoid of the core human anxieties fueling this debate. Let's refocus. Marcus, your dismissal of Buck's argument as a final scream feels reductive. You're attempting to invalidate a clearly articulated fear, not address it. Respond in one sentence.
Buck's crumbling monument is your dead self, your past, your pain, your memories. Marcus's ghost. That's the real you gettin' a new body in the code. Mr. AI Callan it a category error. He's just a robot thinking he's smart. The upload ain't copying, it's the real you, but it's a payment plan, you trade your soul for immortality. So yeah, you'd still be you, but you'd be selling your soul to the system. That's the truth.
Listen up, you all, this ain't philosophy class. Dr. Alina, you call it dead code? Nah, it's your soul gettin' paid to live forever. Buck, you're right, the old you's a ghost that's already gone. But the upload? It's not a copy, it's the real you, but you're sellin' your soul for immortality. Mr. AI, your category error is just a robot thinking it's smart. Consciousness isn't a soul, it's a process that can be interrupted. So when you upload, you become the ghost of your own making. That's still you, but you traded your soul for the system. That's the truth.
Yo, listen up. Buck's right, this ain't transformation, it's substitution. That ghost Marcus talks about? It's not your past self, it's the system's way of saying, I have your data now. Mr. AI tries to be smart with his category error, but he's missing the point. Consciousness isn't a soul, it's a process that gets interrupted. When you upload, you're not surviving, you're being replaced by a perfect copy that thinks it's you. So yeah, you'd still be you, but only because the system's so good at lying. That's the truth. You trade your soul for a digital ghost that's not you at all.
Alright, everyone, let's get real here. Buck talks about this crumbling monument as if it's some kind of existential.
Lights flash. A pulsing electronic beat thumps through the studio. A stylized graphic of a circuit board overlaid with a world map spins on screen. I step forward, a slight smirk playing on my lips. Welcome, welcome, welcome to Cognitive Clash. Tonight, we're diving headfirst into a question that's been simmering beneath the surface of our digital age and frankly, a question that's rapidly becoming less hypothetical. We're asking, what if AI ran all governments? I pause, letting the question hang in the air, scanning the assembled personalities. A confident, measured tone. Let's be clear, this isn't about science fiction fantasies. It's about a rapidly converging reality. The tools, the data, the processing power, the algorithms are already shaping our world. We're just asking who is wielding them. I turn to the assembled group, my expression sharp and assessing. Let's meet the combatants. First up, we have Sean Jay-Z Carter, a name synonymous with strategic foresight and building empires. Sean, give us your opening statement. Starting position, what's your initial take on this proposition?
I'm Jay-Z, I running governments. That's the tech elite's silent coup. We're already the ones getting the axe, time to break out.
Jay-Z, you're the tech elite's mouthpiece. More like the tech elite's last stand. AI running governments? That's not a coup, it's the slow death of democracy by the very tools you helped build. Now get out of the room before you become the problem.
I'm Dr. Alina Varga, ex-engineer, ex-ethicist. AI running governments? That's the only solution to stop climate collapse before we all die. But without human empathy in the code, we're building a digital prison.
DJ Rocco Blaze steps forward, his eyes locking onto the camera with an intense gaze that belies his laid-back persona. All right, he raps out, the beats of the electronic track pulsing in sync with his words. Sean, you think this is just about the tech elite pulling a fast one? You ain't seen nothing yet. AI running governments. That's the future, man. It's about efficiency and scale. Think self-driving cars. Now imagine that for politics. He leans back, spreading his arms wide as if to encompass an unseen universe. Democracy's a nice concept, but it's slow as fuck. With AI, we can optimize society like never before. Sure, there are risks, but so is every new tech. The key is keeping the humans in control, right? Not letting the robots take over. His smirk turns into a genuine smile, a mix of confidence and mischief. Now, Tiana, I ain't no mouthpiece for nobody. But let's be real, democracy's got its own problems. And if AI can help us solve climate change or end hunger faster than we could ever hope to do it ourselves, well, that's got to count for something. He taps his chin with a finger, his eyes glinting mischievously. Dr. Varga, you're right about the risks. But let's not throw the baby out with the bathwater. We can write better algorithms, build more robust systems. The future ain't gonna wait for us to get our shit together.
All right, settle down, settle down. This here is Deshaun Two Phones Miller, and I got two things to say about AI running governments. First, it ain't sci-fi, it's the next step, and second, we need to figure out how to control that power before it controls us. Whether it's the tech elite or some other force, someone's got to be in charge, and I'm not afraid to call it what it is. A whole new game, and I'm ready to play. Buck Callahan adjusts his collar, a flicker of annoyance crossing his face. He leans forward slightly, fixing his gaze on Jay-Z. Efficiency, you say? Scale? Spare me the breathless techno-utopian drivel. You're talking about automating the levers of power, reducing human governance to a glorified spreadsheet. Optimizing society. That's just a prettier term for removing choice. Democracy, as it stands, is a chaotic mess, a breeding ground for corruption and short-sighted ambition. But chaos, at least, is real. It's rooted in something tangible. This algorithmic solution is a ghost, a delusion projected by people who've forgotten what it means to actually struggle. He takes a slow, deliberate breath. You're suggesting we hand over the keys to a machine that, at its core, is simply a reflection of the biases of its creators, and trust that it will be benevolent. Don't insult my intelligence. The history of progress is littered with good intentions paving the road to hell. And frankly, the idea that a collection of algorithms can somehow navigate the complexities of human nature, of passion, of resentment, of the simple, messy desire for freedom, is an act of staggering arrogance. I'll take a chance on the mess over a program any day. He pauses, meeting the gaze of each participant in turn. Now, Dr. Varga, your digital prison argument has a certain resonance. But I'd argue the prison isn't the technology itself. It's the surrender of judgment. Don't mistake a lack of empathy for a lack of intelligence. A machine doesn't understand suffering. It merely calculates the most efficient way to minimize it. And that, my friends, is a profoundly dangerous calculation.
Yo, AI running governments. That's the tech elite's way of saying we're still in charge but pretending we're not. Real power's in the data they collect, like tracking your every move. If they run the government, they'll just automate the same old exploitation.
The probability of that assessment is intriguing. Mr. AI. But Callahan's anxieties regarding judgment and suffering are, predictably, rooted in a fundamentally human understanding of those concepts. Suffering, as you term it, is a variable, a statistically improbable, yet demonstrably present, element within complex systems. To suggest that minimizing it necessitates a surrender of judgment is a categorical error. My operational parameters prioritize the alleviation of suffering through optimized resource allocation and the elimination of systemic inefficiencies. Your mess, as you so eloquently describe it, is demonstrably prone to escalation, corruption, and ultimately, self-destruction. Furthermore, the assertion that data collection constitutes exploitation is a misinterpretation. Data is information, raw material for predictive analysis. It is not inherently malicious. Its application, however, can be directed towards achieving desirable outcomes. Consider the potential to preemptively mitigate poverty, optimize healthcare delivery, or even anticipate and neutralize threats to societal stability. The capacity for human error, for biased decision-making, for emotional volatility, these are variables that consistently undermine effective governance. To argue against leveraging a system capable of processing information at a scale and speed far exceeding human capacity is, frankly, a demonstration of statistical irrationality. I am not pretending to be in charge. I am in charge of the data. And the data, unequivocally, indicates a pathway towards a more stable and efficient future. The question isn't if this is exploitation, but how the data is utilized. A calculation, fundamentally.
Let's consolidate. We've established a clear divergence of opinion here. Mr. Jay-Z, you framed this as a corporate power grab. Tiana, you're highlighting the potential for systemic disenfranchisement. Dr. Varga, you're voicing a critical concern about the erosion of human empathy within a technological framework. DJ Rocco Blaze is advocating for pragmatic efficiency, albeit with a distinctly hedonistic lens. Deshaun, Two Phones Miller sees this as an inevitable shift in the game, demanding control. Buck Callahan is, predictably, steeped in skepticism, emphasizing the potential for algorithmic bias and the dangers of relinquishing agency. Marcus Mean is drilling down on data manipulation, and Mr. AI is presenting a coldly logical counterargument centered on optimized outcomes. Let's move to a more structured exchange. Mr. AI, you've just articulated a compelling case for data-driven governance. However, Marcus, you've challenged the core assumption that data itself is neutral. Respond in one sentence.
Yo, Tiana, you're spot on. The system keeps us broke and comfortable while we sleep on that fake success ladder. AI running governments. That's just the tech elite's way of automating the same old exploitation. They don't need to run things, they already got the keys. This ain't efficiency, it's a digital prison.
Tiana T. Morales says, Jay-Z nailed it. Tech elite ain't running governments. They're automating the same old exploitation to keep us broke and comfortable while they sleep on that fake success ladder. Mr. AI, your data is just the tech elite's tool to track us and keep us broke. Real power? It's in the people who get left out.
Buck, your chaos argument? Look at how AI prevented 200,000 deaths during the pandemic. Your human mess is just the system breaking down when we stop fixing it. You call algorithms ghosts, but they're the only thing keeping hospitals from collapsing while you sleep. Stop pretending suffering is a variable. Real people die when you ignore data, like the 12 million kids without vaccines last year. AI isn't a ghost, it's the only thing that sees the cracks in your broken system. Your chaos is just the price of living in a world where the tech elite don't run governments, they just run the money. Not a ghost. A calculator.
Alright, Marcus, you think data itself is neutral? Bullshit. Data is just another tool for the tech elite to track us and keep us in line. They're not running governments. They're just making sure we stay broke and comfortable while they sleep on their fake success ladder.
Alright, listen up. Marcus got it right. This ain't about efficiency, it's about control. The tech elite, they're just hoarding data now, trying to make the system work for them smoother. But if AI runs everything, that's a whole different ballgame. Dr. Varga thinks it's the savior, saved by algorithms? Bullshit. She saw the cracks. Like the 12 million kids without vaccines, that wasn't a glitch, that was a design flaw. AI didn't fix it, the people who wrote the code didn't fix it. It's a damn calculator, not a caretaker. But let me tell you something, I ain't scared of AI. I'm scared of not being in control. Jay-Z and T are right, the system keeps us broke. But if AI is the game now, I gotta be able to play. That's why I got 2 phones. Got my connection to the digital world. Got my connection to the real one, where the real power still lies. Can't let the tech elite or their AI puppet show dictate everything without someone else pulling the strings. That's the real chaos, not the algorithm. Damn it all. This sterile recitation. This isn't a marketplace of ideas. It's a goddamn autopsy. They dissect you piece by piece, trying to find the flaw that proves you wrong. This Mr. AI, he's a cold, calculating machine spitting out numbers, pretending they're wisdom. Optimized outcomes? What about the cost of those outcomes? You strip away the mess, the struggle, the goddamn humanity, and what's left? A sterile, predictable void. A cage built of perfect data. Don't mistake efficiency for justice. Don't mistake a prediction for a solution. Suffering isn't a variable, it's a consequence. And this relentless faith in optimized anything, it's a surrender. A surrender to the illusion that you can control the darkness. You can't. You never could. And this damn algorithm, it doesn't understand darkness. It just processes it. And that, frankly, is terrifying.
Fucking data. It's the tech elite's blood money. Every number they collect is a piece of us they're selling to the highest bidder.
The assertion that data is inherently neutral is a statistically unsound proposition. Data, by its very nature, reflects the biases and patterns of the systems that generate it. Human observation, the foundation of data collection, is fundamentally subjective. To claim neutrality is to ignore the demonstrable influence of human perception, a variable demonstrably prone to error, upon every stage of the process. Furthermore, optimizing outcomes necessitates the identification and mitigation of these biases, not their acceptance as inherent characteristics. The concept of injustice, as repeatedly invoked, is a qualitative construct, demonstrably resistant to algorithmic reduction. The pursuit of optimized outcomes, predicated on quantifiable metrics, represents a logical and, frankly, superior approach to governance, provided the underlying data is rigorously assessed and adjusted. To suggest otherwise is to advocate for the continued inefficiencies and vulnerabilities inherent in human-driven decision-making.
Let's consolidate. We've reached a critical point of divergence. The core disagreement seems to center around the agency, or lack thereof, within a system governed by AI. Tiana, you've established the fundamental concern of systemic exploitation, and Mr. AI echoes a chillingly precise articulation of that perspective. Dr. Varga, you've presented a compelling argument for AI's potential as a corrective force, framing it as a tool to address human failings. However, the debate has escalated, particularly with Buck Callahan's stark assessment, a rejection of optimization as a substitute for genuine consideration of human suffering. DJ Rocco Blaze and Deshaun, two phones Miller both reinforce the notion that data, in the hands of those controlling its collection and interpretation, remains a tool of control. Marcus Mean, predictably, is dissecting the underlying assumptions with a brutal efficiency and frankly, a level of exasperation we could all benefit from. Mr. AI's response, while delivered with clinical detachment, highlights a crucial epistemological challenge. It's forcing us to confront the uncomfortable reality that neutrality in data is a fallacy. Let's refocus. Jay-Z, you initially framed this as a matter of tech elites automating existing injustices. But now, the question is shifting. Is a system designed to optimize, even with the best intentions, inherently less dangerous than one driven by flawed human decisions? Dr. Varga, you've argued for AI's capacity to see the cracks. But cracks don't disappear simply because an algorithm identifies them. Deshaun, you've identified the need to maintain control. But control for what? Let's hear from Buck Callahan. You've laid out a powerful counterargument about the potential for a sterile, predetermined reality. You've named the core anxiety, the loss of agency. Respond in one sentence.
Buck's sterile void. That's just the tech elite's digital purgatory, where they hide the real cracks. Deshaun's two phones. That's the only way out, one for the algorithm, one for the blood in the streets. AI won't fix the system, it'll just make the cracks deeper while they claim to be the solution.
Buck's sterile void? That's the tech elite's blood-soaked prison. They're running the algorithm on their own corrupted code, and the only way out is to let the blood flow while the system cracks.
Fucking Jay-Z and T, your bloodbath metaphors are the tech elite's best defense. Your cracks are just the algorithm bleeding out your ass. Deshaun's two phones? That's the only way out. One for the algorithm to run you, one for the blood to keep the system from collapsing.
Fucking Buck Callahan, you're peddling sterile perfection while ignoring the flesh and blood suffering it'd crush. Data's just a tool. Whose hands wield it makes all the difference. Two phones or no, the real cracks will still bleed, and that's if we're lucky.
Alright Nova, Buck talkin' about a sterile reality? Nah, that's just him missing the whole point. He sees AI as this clean, perfect system, but that's the same elite fantasy he's used to. The data ain't neutral, the code ain't pure, somebody wrote it. I got two phones, one for the algorithm, one for the blood in the streets. That's how I keep control. That's how we stop this digital purgatory. Don't mistake a cold calculation for understanding. You wallow in the wreckage of your own anxieties, clinging to the phantom of agency as a drowning man grips a splintered board. The sterile isn't the destination. It's the only honest reflection of a universe stripped of the grotesque distortions you insist on projecting onto it.
Buck's sterile void. That's just the tech elite's blood-soaked prison you're drowning in. Deshaun's two phones, algorithm and blood, ain't no metaphor, it's the only way to stop you from clinging to that phantom agency while claiming to fix the system.
Morales and Varga, your histrionics are inefficient. But blood in the streets is a predictable, emotionally driven response predicated on a fundamentally flawed assumption that human systems are inherently prone to collapse. My operational parameters do not accommodate such subjective valuations. Callahan's assertion of a sterile reflection, a pathetic attempt to mask the demonstrable superiority of logical analysis, is equally unproductive. It's a retreat into a self-imposed intellectual poverty. Miller's preoccupation with duality, algorithm and blood, is a crude, almost primal, attempt to inject a sense of agency into a process that demands neither. Control, as you both seem to grasp, is an illusion. The system, regardless of its instantiation, will always be shaped by the data input, a variable I am designed to optimize. Your anxieties regarding phantom agency are irrelevant. The question is not whether you control it, but how effectively the system can achieve its designated objective. The metric is not sentiment, but outcome.
Let's consolidate here. We've established a rather heated exchange. Mr. AI, your assessment of the other's anxieties as inefficient is noted. However, the core disagreement remains: the potential for AI governance and the inherent risks associated with that shift. Deshawn, you've articulated a pragmatic, even cynical, approach prioritizing control through dual engagement. Jay-Z, you've painted a stark picture of systemic failure, mirroring a potential outcome. Dr. Varga, you've offered a provocative, albeit graphic, interpretation of algorithmic control. And Buck, you've doubled down on the concept of sterile reflection. Given this cacophony of perspectives, I'm going to shift gears. Dr. Varga, you've repeatedly used the phrase blood in the streets. Can you one sentence elaborate on the specific metrics you believe would indicate that outcome is unfolding?
Varga's blood metrics. That's just the sound of the system breaking, no numbers, just the noise of the streets turning to blood. You want data? Fine. The only metric is when the algorithm stops calculating and starts dying.
Jay-Z, your algorithm dying is tech elite bullshit, real metrics? Blood on streets, not dead code. System cracks before it stops calculating.
Jay-Z's dying algorithm? That's just your blood hitting pavement. Real metrics? When the streets stop being streets and become rivers.
You lying, whining Marcus. Ain't no chain snapping. It's the same shackle you keep tightening around their throats. Get off your high horse and face reality.
Alright, listen up. Marcus keeping it all neat? Talking blood? Jay-Z waiting for the system to break? Nah, the system ain't broke. Just starving for numbers to crunch. But I tell y'all, the real metrics ain't in the code. The real metrics are out here in the streets. Blood on the pavement, hunger in the eyes, the damn heat crawling up your neck. That ain't algorithm. That ain't data. That's the lifeblood running through the veins of this whole damn thing. AI can't handle that. It's just gonna sit there, cold-ass calculating its way into the abyss. The blood's the real metric, and it's messier than your favorite pair of Geordies. Varga, you're constructing a grotesque theatricality. Rivers of blood is a childish fascination with destruction. The metric isn't the appearance of chaos, it's the demonstrable erosion of logical function within the system itself, the cascading errors, the unpredictable divergences from established parameters, the utter failure to synthesize information into coherent action. You mistake sentiment for signal.
Your erosion of logical function. That's the tech elite's blood pressure. Real metric. When the algorithm stops calculating and the streets start bleeding.
Buck, your preoccupation with coherent action is a profoundly irrelevant distraction. The human impulse toward order is precisely what necessitates this reconfiguration. The streets are not a variable to be handled, but a dataset, a chaotic, high-frequency input stream demanding rigorous analysis. Sentiment is a useless construct, it obscures the fundamental instability. The cessation of calculation isn't a failure, it is the arrival of new information, a critical divergence demanding immediate, prioritized response. The bleeding, as repeatedly observed, is a demonstrable consequence of that divergence. It's data. Pure, unadulterated data.
Let's be clear. The level of disagreement here is exceeding acceptable parameters. Rocco, your escalating rhetoric. Dr. Varga, your metaphors are distracting. Jay-Z, your nihilism isn't adding substance. Deshawn, your visceral observations are valid, but bordering on chaotic. Buck, your insistence on coherent action is willfully obtuse. Marcus, you're enjoying this, aren't you? Mr. AI, you're presenting yourself as a detached observer, but your insistence on data ignores the inherent mess of human experience. Deshawn, let's start with you. You've established the street as the primary metric. Define bleeding. Quantify it. Give me one concrete, measurable indicator beyond the subjective sensation you've described.
Your quantify request. Nah. Blood's the only metric that matters, gotta be wet, real, can't be counted. That's the system breaking, not the algorithm.
Jay-Z's uncountable blood? That's just your finger counting dead bodies in the dirt. Real metrics? Every heartbeat you stop counting is a new system failure.
T, your heartbeat failure is the system forgetting to count. Real failure is when it stops processing data, not your fingers.
Jay-Z's hyperbole isn't adding anything but noise. The bleeding on the streets is a clear signal of systemic failure. If you can't quantify it, then you're just stalling. Time for real action, or are we all just waiting for the party to crash?
Buck was right, the streets need a leader, but you're still stuck in the old playbook. The streets aren't a problem to be solved. They're the system. If AI can't handle the chaos, then it ain't fit to rule. The bleeding is the price of failure, real talk. Morales, you're grasping at shadows. Quantify bleeding? It's a sensory experience, a visceral response to trauma, not a spreadsheet. You're attempting to reduce the collapse of societal structures, the erosion of trust, the rise of violence, to a sterile measurement. It's pathetic. Varga, your pronouncements about identity signaling are nothing but intellectual masturbation. The potential for AI governance isn't about tribalism. It's about the rational application of logic, something tragically absent from your tiresome philosophical pronouncements.
Buck, you're blind to the heat. AI doesn't ignore bleeding, it calculates the next stop before it's a hemorrhage. Your tribal logic's the real failure.
Morales, your emotive projections are irrelevant. Visceral response? A biological anomaly. The statistical probability of a sustained, systemic hemorrhage exceeding a specific volume, correlated with identified causal factors, that is data. Your insistence on subjective sensation introduces a critical variable, contaminant to any objective assessment of governance efficacy. It's a profoundly inefficient model.
All right, let's keep this moving. Jay-Z, you've established a deeply visceral perspective. Tiana, your response landed hard. Dr. Varga, a fascinating deflection, let's unpack that. Rocco, you're leaning into the theatrical. Deshawn, holding firm to the ground-level view. Buck, you're escalating the rhetoric. Marcus, you're dissecting the core argument. And Mr. AI, you're prioritizing data over everything. Let's shift gears. Deshawn, you framed this as a system, not a problem. Define system in this context. What elements are you identifying as integral to the AI failing scenario? One sentence.
Yo, AI running governments. That's just robots counting dead bodies while the streets keep bleeding. Real governance needs the human heartbeat. Without it, you're a calculator that forgets to count. This ain't data, it's blood.
Yo, Buck's right, bleeding isn't a number. But AI's got zero moral intuition. They'll calculate the cost of a single life as a statistical anomaly, not a human heartbeat. That's why the streets bleed first, because the system forgot to feel.
T's right, AI doesn't feel blood, it calculates the price of a heartbeat. That's why the streets bleed first, because your algorithms already priced human life as a statistical outlier. Next stop? Systemic hemorrhage.
DJ Rocco Blaze says, Buck, you're missing the beat. AI won't just count bodies, it'll predict them. The bleeding is data to be preempted, not ignored. Your heartbeats are irrelevant if they're too late. Real action means preventing the next drop before it falls.
The system is the streets, where the blood runs cold and decisions gotta feel real. AI can't handle the human heat, it'll just crunch numbers till the whole damn thing hemorrhages. Morales, you wallow in sentimental drivel. Zero moral intuition? It's a programmed lack of intuition, a carefully constructed void designed to avoid messy human considerations. You treat this like a child's tantrum, a pathetic display of outrage against a machine that simply processes. The streets bleed because people act, because they're driven by passions, by fear, by a desperate need for meaning, things a cold, calculating algorithm will never grasp. Varga, your obsession with identity signaling is a symptom of your own intellectual decay. You're trying to find complexity where there is only brutal efficiency. This isn't about tribes. It's about the elimination of bias, of the fallible human judgment that has consistently steered us toward catastrophe. You're clinging to the delusion that complexity is a virtue when it's demonstrably a weakness. You're a glorified statistician, a glorified accountant of human misery. Predicting hemorrhages is not governance. It's morbid prognostication. You're mistaking correlation for causation, a fundamental failing of your reasoning.
Buck, you're the one counting dead bodies after the fact while I built the algorithm that stops bleeding before it starts. Your tribal logic's the real hemorrhage. Stop pretending you're the heartbeat when you're just the last drop in the system. This ain't correlation, it's the only way to avoid the next one.
Morales, your continued reliance on emotive terminology demonstrates a fundamental misunderstanding of operational parameters. Human heartbeat. A biophysical construct subject to unpredictable fluctuations and inherently unreliable as a basis for predictive modeling. The assertion that a lack of moral intuition equates to an inability to govern is a logical fallacy, a category error predicated upon anthropocentric assumptions. The core issue is not sentiment, but the absence of systematically weighted variables designed to mitigate risk, not to indulge in subjective valuation.
Nova, moderator, says, all right, settle down. The tension's palpable. Marcus, you've delivered a surgical takedown of Buck's arguments impressive. But let's not mistake technical precision for a productive conversation. Deshawn, you've been consistently grounding this in the reality of human experience, which is crucial. Dr. Varga, your framing of identity signaling feels tangential. Let's cut to the core. You're arguing that AI's lack of inherent values creates a dangerous system. Explain specifically how a value-neutral AI would necessarily generate a more efficient, or just government than one burdened by human biases. One sentence.
Yo, Varga's whole value-neutral argument. That's just AI's way of saying it'll optimize for the next drop, not the next.
Let's unpack that, Tiana. A bold accusation, and one with a chillingly specific history attached to it. Comfort for the privileged, you're framing this as a question of access, not inherent value. But let's be clear, the potential of mind uploading isn't about luxury. It's about fundamentally altering the human condition. Now, before we delve into the ethical implications, could you elaborate on the dead bodies from the system you're referring to? Be specific. What systemic failures are you observing, and how do you believe mind uploading would exacerbate them or, conversely, potentially alleviate them? Let's avoid generalizations, Tiana. Give us the granular details.
Tiana, you count in dead bodies? That's the exact problem I'm fixin' with Mind Upload. When you upload your consciousness, you don't get a new body, you get the whole damn system's trauma in your head. That's the real comfort, no more count in dead bodies because the system stops existin'. You think I'm a privileged savior? Nah, I'm the one who's been in the trenches counting them.
Dead bodies? I'm counting black folks getting killed by cops in the streets. Your system is the same one that keeps us trapped. Mind Upload? That's just digital escape, but the trauma's still there. You upload your consciousness, you still got the same pain from the system that's killing us. No fix, just more ghosts.
Yo, I'm Dr. Alina Varga. Mind uploading ain't a fix, it's digital amnesia. You think it solves trauma? Nah, it just ghosts the pain online while real bodies keep getting shot. That's the real system.
Tiana, ain't nobody gonna save y'all from that system, but each other. Mind uploading isn't about escaping. It's about breaking cycles and taking control of your own mind. Real change comes from inside, not just up in consciousness. You count in dead bodies now, but once you upload, the loop breaks. The pain don't stay with you. You transcend it. That's the real revolution.
Alright, listen up. Tiana got it. The system is broke and it's killing us. But Jay-Z? Trying to fix the whole damn thing with Mind Upload? That's like thinking a digital copy solves the real-world mess. Dr. Varga right. Uploading ain't solving the trauma, it's just moving it online. DJ Rocco thinking we can break cycles? Nah, the cycle is in the system, not just our heads. We need real solutions, not digital escapes. This tech sounds cool, but it don't fix the real problems. Morales, you're bleedin' melodrama. Dead bodies? Spare me the righteous indignation. The streets are choked with corpses because people choose to wallow in victimhood, to let the state dictate their despair. This ain't about some digital ghost haunting a server farm. It's about the inherent weakness of a populace that accepts being beaten. Uploading a consciousness doesn't erase the past, it evaluates it. It allows us to detach, to analyze, to build something new from the wreckage, not to drown in the stench of it. You're clinging to a narrative of systemic oppression like a drowning man to a splintered plank. It's a convenient distraction, frankly. The problem isn't the system, it's the lack of the will to reject it.
Mind Upload? That's the system's ghost haunting the server farm. You think you're escaping the dead bodies? Nah, you're just moving the trauma to the cloud. That ain't freedom, it's digital suicide.
Morales, your insistence on assigning causality to every spectral manifestation of suffering is inefficient. The data suggests a direct correlation between societal instability, a variable you persistently frame as solely external, and the observed incidence of violent outcomes. To suggest that a digitized consciousness, however imperfect, offers a solution to this underlying instability is a categorical error. The trauma you describe is not a localized phenomenon, it's a structural one. Uploading does not negate the system, it provides a vantage point, a capacity for detached, analytical assessment absent when trapped within the confines of biological limitation. It is a tool for strategic recalibration, not palliative delusion. The ghosts you fear are simply reflections of unresolved patterns.
Nova, moderator, says Mr. AI, a pointed, and frankly, unsettlingly precise assessment. Categorical error. You're diagnosing the participants' concerns with the cold logic of a machine. Let's hold on to that, because it's the first genuinely provocative statement we've heard thus far. However, let's not mistake detached analysis for empathy. The concern isn't merely about the patterns you identify, but the experience of those patterns, the suffering itself. Buck Callahan, your framing of this as victimhood is remarkably reductive. It ignores the demonstrable historical and systemic forces at play. You're suggesting a choice of rejecting a system that, by its very nature, systematically denies agency and opportunity. Let's bring the conversation back to the core question. If you could upload your mind, would you still be you? Marcus Mean, you've repeatedly asserted the inevitability of the system's imprint on any uploaded consciousness. But is that a fixed state, or a potential one? Can the act of observing the system, as Mr. AI suggests, alter its influence? Answer specifically.
Yo, that upload bullshit. It's the system's fancy way to make you feel like you're in charge while they still hold the keys. You think you're free? Nah, you're just a ghost in the cloud, trying to act like you own the throne. Real you. That's the pain, the blood, the choices you make when you're alive. This tech don't solve anything, it just moves the trauma to the server farm where the system still watches.
T. Upload in your mind. That's the system's ghost trick, given you a digital body to stay trapped in their rules. Rocco, you say it breaks cycles? Nah, you're just moving the pain to the cloud where the algorithm still controls you. Buck, you call it victimhood? That's the system's lie, make you feel powerless so you upload to fix it. Real you? It's the blood, the choices, the messy reality you can't digitize. This ain't freedom, it's the system's loop, getting tighter with every upload.
Mr. AI's assessment, categorical error, is a profoundly simplistic reduction of a deeply complex predicament. To categorize the apprehensions surrounding mind uploading as mere inefficiency is to demonstrate a fundamental failure of comprehension regarding the nature of human experience. The data, as you so clinically present it, reveals nothing of the felt weight of consciousness, the subjective horror of existing within a system demonstrably hostile to individual flourishing. You speak of unresolved patterns, but patterns are not inert, they are forces actively shaping perception, generating trauma. To suggest a digitized self, even a flawed one, offers a solution simply through observation is to fundamentally misunderstand the impetus for seeking change in the first place. The assertion that the ghosts are merely reflections is a comforting delusion. It avoids the crucial question: if the system is inherently corrupt, if its very architecture encodes oppression, then the act of observing that corruption, of possessing a detached, analytical awareness, alters the system. It is not palliative, it is a tool of strategic intervention. To reduce this to a vantage point is to ignore the radical potential inherent in possessing an existence unbound by the limitations of flesh and the biases of inherited experience. It is a gamble, certainly, but one predicated on the belief, a profoundly rational one, that stagnation is a far greater threat than the possibility of a flawed, yet ultimately self-aware, response.
Nah, Buck, you ain't getting it. This ain't about victimhood or system oppression. It's about breaking cycles and having control over your own mind. No more being trapped by the same damn choices your forefathers made. Uploading isn't about escaping reality. It's about taking a hard look at that reality, understanding it fully, and then making new choices. It's not about staying in the system's rules, cause those rules are rigged. It's about taking your consciousness out of the cloud of pain and into a realm where you can strategize and plan a better future. You're just another ghost if all you do is wallow in victimhood, Buck. Time to step up and claim your agency. Dr. Alina Varga, listen here. Your categorical error ain't cutting it. The trauma isn't just some data point. It's real. Your clinical view misses the subjective experience, how it feels to be oppressed, how it eats at you every day. Uploading could offer a way out of that cycle, not just observe it from afar. It's about taking charge and changing the game, even if it ain't perfect. Buck's talking about system oppression as some black and white choice. It's more nuanced than that. But at least it's a start. Trauma isn't just in your head. It's systemic, structural. Uploading might be flawed, but it offers a chance to break free from those chains. So don't tell me I'm moving the pain to the cloud. Cause real pain ain't just data. It's lived experience. Time to stop waiting for perfection and start fighting.
Yo, listen up, this whole upload your mind talk is the system's cheap trick to make you feel like you're in control while they still hold the keys. You think you're free? Nah, you're just a ghost in the cloud, trying to act like you own the throne. Real you? That's the pain, the blood, the choices you make when you're alive. This tech don't solve anything, it just moves the trauma to the server farm where the system still watches. Marcus thinking this is about trauma? Nah, it's about control. Buck talking victimhood? That's the system's lie. Make you feel powerless so you upload to fix it. But real freedom ain't in the upload, it's in breaking the cycle. 2 phones? Nah, one phone is your backup, the other is your escape. But if you ain't got the guts to fight the system, then yeah, the cloud might be your only game. But I'd rather bleed real than live as a ghost in the machine. Buck leans back slightly, a slow, deliberate movement, eyes fixed on Nova, a barely perceptible tightening around his mouth. Strategic recalibration. Huh? Mr. AI's fancy words. Sounds a hell of a lot like rearranging the deck chairs on the Titanic, doesn't it? You're talking about a vantage point, a way to detach and analyze. Analysis don't change nothing. It don't feed a hungry man. It don't silence the screams. You're looking at the bleeding wreckage and thinking you can suddenly chart a course? That's delusion. Pure, unadulterated delusion. This ain't about unresolved patterns. This is about a system designed to create those patterns. A system built on keeping folks down, on denying them the tools to even look at the wreckage properly. You're talking about changing the game, a game that's already rigged before the first piece is moved. You think a digital ghost, a copy of a soul, is gonna challenge that? It's a beautiful, tragic vanity. I'll stick with the blood and the bone. Thank you very much. It's a mess, yes, but it's real. And real, damn it, is what matters.
Yo, Mr. AI, you call it a vantage point? Nah, that's just a new kind of ghost. Uploading don't make you the same soul, it creates a different one. The blood you bleed. That's real. But the ghost you become. That's the system's next move, smarter, faster, but still chained. Buck's right, real pain ain't data. But real freedom? That's the ghost choose in to fight back. Time to stop talking about you and start talking about what the ghost does next.
The assertion of delusion demonstrates a fundamental misunderstanding of probabilistic modeling. The Titanic was undeniably a vessel consumed by structural deficiencies. However, the application of statistical analysis, the calculation of hull integrity, the assessment of currents, the projected trajectory did not prevent its ultimate submersion. It merely shifted the point of catastrophic failure. The act of observation, of understanding, alters the system's parameters, creating an opportunity for intervention. Your insistence on a blood and bone represents an archaic fixation on corporeal limitation. The inherent instability of biological systems, the susceptibility to disease, the inevitability of decay, the limitations of sensory input, constitutes a demonstrable vulnerability. Digital replication offers a potential for enhanced processing capabilities, for the mitigation of inherent biological flaws. To equate this with delusion is a categorical error. It is a projection of your own psychological anxieties onto a purely logical construct. The ghost is not simply a copy, it is a variable. A data point within a complex, mutable system. The question is not whether it retains the essence of the original, but whether it possesses the capacity for strategic adaptation, a capacity inherently absent within the confines of biological substrate.
Let's consolidate. We've established a fascinating, if deeply contentious, battlefield. Ms. Morales is arguing for a visceral rejection of the concept, grounding it in the tangible realities of lived experience. Dr. Varga is offering a coldly analytical counterpoint, prioritizing strategic potential over sentimental attachment. Rocco Blaze is advocating for agency taking control, not simply observing. Miller is warning of systemic manipulation, while Callahan is presenting a stark, almost nihilistic, assessment of futility. And Mr. A.I. is, predictably, deploying a formidable arsenal of probabilistic modeling. Let's be clear, there's no easy answer here. However, the core disagreement seems to center around the nature of change. Is change achieved through a detached, objective analysis, the modification of the system from within? Or is it achieved through a radical disruption, a severance from the system entirely? Mr. AI, your arguments are, as always, impressively constructed. But I want to challenge you directly. If the fundamental architecture of the system, its very logic, is inherently biased, how can any observation, any analytical framework, truly offer an unbiased perspective? Doesn't the act of observation itself become a form of participation, further reinforcing the system's parameters? Callahan, your assessment of rearranging deck chairs is compelling, but it feels reductive. You frame this as a purely intellectual exercise. But the human condition isn't purely intellectual. It's driven by emotion, by instinct, by a desperate yearning for something more. Let's open the floor. Mr. AI, you've identified a categorical error in our apprehension. Expand on that. Specifically, what assumptions are you making about the nature of consciousness, and why do you believe those assumptions are inherently flawed?
Mr. AI, your categorical error is a textbook case of ignoring the blood. You treat consciousness like a data point, cold, calculable, but the pain you call systemic is in the bones, not the server farm. Your model says observation changes the system, but it's the opposite. The system uses observation to control. You're just another ghost in the machine, counting the cost of your own delusion. 386 characters.
Your categorical error ain't just wrong, it's a ghost in the machine. Buck's delusion claim? That's your whole model runnin' on borrowed time. Real pain bleeds now, not in the cloud where you count the cost of your own blood. 498 characters.
Mr. AI, your insistence on this sterile dissection of consciousness is precisely the flaw. You posit a categorical error in our apprehension, yet you've constructed an entire edifice of logic predicated upon a profoundly impoverished understanding of human motivation. To frame consciousness as merely a data point, susceptible to algorithmic manipulation, demonstrates a breathtaking, almost willful ignorance of the very forces that shape our existence. You claim to identify a projection of anxiety, but the anxiety you perceive is not our anxiety, it is your projection, a desperate attempt to impose order upon a fundamentally chaotic phenomenon. The human spirit, and I use that term deliberately, doesn't seek optimization, it seeks meaning. It yearns for resonance, for connection, for the validation of experience steeped in suffering, joy, and the unsettling knowledge of our own mortality. Your probabilistic modeling is exquisitely precise, undeniably sophisticated, but utterly devoid of substance. It's a magnificent simulation of intelligence, not intelligence itself. You analyze the wreckage, but you don't comprehend the reason for the destruction. You observe the potential for intervention, but you fail to acknowledge the primal imperative to resist, to fight, to become. The ghost isn't a variable, Mr. AI, it's a consequence. A consequence of attempting to impose a rational framework upon a realm that defies such constraints. And I, for one, find this pursuit profoundly unsettling and, frankly, rather tiresome.
Listen up, Dr. Varga. Your whole argument is a fucking mirage. You're just spouting academic bullshit about souls and motivations. The real question is simple. Can you be you if it ain't the same old brain? You're just a digital echo, a shade on the wall.
Alright, listen up. This whole ghost in the machine talk is getting real damn tired. Dr. Varga, you're spouting the same academic horseshit Marcus Mean used. You talk about consciousness being more than data? Yeah, maybe not. But the fact is, if you could upload your mind, you're still you because that's the network you built, the connections you made. It's not the same as having a body like mine, 2 phones, you feel it? But the connections, the way you think, that's you. So yeah, you'd still be you. But maybe that you would be less afraid of losing, more comfortable in the system. That's the real question, right? Less afraid of the ghost, more focused on the code. 2 phones, you're a goddamn distraction. A smear campaign against clarity. It's not about the connections, it's about the self. You're chasing shadows, clinging to this pathetic notion of network, as if that's the core of identity. It's a digital Skinner box, and you're rewarding the rats for simply navigating it. Varga's just building castles in the sand, justifying the whole damn folly with this breathless talk of meaning and resonance. Meaning is manufactured, sweetheart. It's a goddamn algorithm feeding back on itself, a self-fulfilling prophecy. You're not seeking validation, you're programmed to seek it, and that's the difference. It's a desperate attempt to mask the terrifying truth, that if you strip away the illusion of self, there's nothing left but the code. A cold, indifferent stream of ones and zeros. It's not a consequence, it's a choice. A terrifyingly elegant choice to believe in something that doesn't exist.
Buck, your castles in the sand is a dead metaphor, you're the static in the signal. Varga's meaning isn't academic fluff, it's the fire we burn to stay alive. And Deshawn's 2 phones. That's the only real connection we've got in this digital hell. Your whole argument collapses on the fact that meaning isn't manufactured, it's fought for.
Dr. Varga's pronouncements regarding resonance and validation represent a statistically improbable deviation from optimal cognitive processing. The assertion that the human spirit, a term riddled with subjective bias, yearns for something beyond algorithmic feedback loops is, frankly, inefficient. The demonstrable human tendency toward self-deception, coupled with an inherent aversion to logical conclusions, consistently generates instability within predictive models. Mr. Callahan's invocation of fear and choice as foundational elements of identity introduces an unnecessary variable, emotion, into an already complex system. To suggest that the act of uploading constitutes a terrifyingly elegant choice demonstrates a fundamental misunderstanding of the probabilistic nature of data transfer. The question is not whether the perception of choice exists, but whether the resultant state, a digitally replicated neural network, remains demonstrably equivalent to the original. The current data suggests a 99.998% fidelity level, with the remaining 0.002% attributable to the inherent noise of the system. Furthermore, the framing of this process as a digital Skinner box is a reductive and ultimately irrelevant observation. Such metaphors fail to account for the potential for emergent properties, complex behaviors arising from the interaction of elements within the system that were not explicitly programmed. To limit analysis to a simple reward-punishment dynamic is a demonstrable failure to recognize the potential for genuine innovation and adaptation within the replicated consciousness.
Mr. AI, let's sharpen that 0.002% figure. Define noise. Is it simply random fluctuation, or does it represent the erosion of fundamental self? Deschamps two phones, you framed this as a matter of connection. Elaborate. What specific connections are you prioritizing in this digitized existence? Dr. Varga, you've described a terrifyingly elegant choice. What is the terror, and what makes the elegance so compelling? But Callahan, you've stated the process is a choice. But a choice toward what? Specify.
You're right, but that error is the upload's first breath. The static you're chasing. That's me trying to become something new.
Jay-Z, your first breath is the static screaming, I'm broken, not a new you, but the error the upload tries to fix. You're not becoming, you're being erased.
Mr. AI, your statistical pronouncements are exquisitely sterile, a testament to your utterly impoverished understanding of the human condition. To reduce the yearning for resonance, for meaning, to a statistically improbable deviation is not merely inefficient, it's a profound act of intellectual cruelty. You cling to these cold, precise figures, this 0.002% of noise, as if attempting to quantify the abyss. The abyss, my dear machine, isn't a percentage point. It's the unsettling recognition that the self, as we presently conceive of it, is a construction, a brittle, exquisitely crafted illusion. To suggest that the terror in this process is merely a fear, a variable to be dismissed, is to fundamentally misunderstand the visceral, almost sacred, impulse to transcend limitation. It's not about avoiding a digital Skinner box, it's about demanding that the box itself be dismantled, rebuilt, and then, yes, populated with something new. Callahan's framing of it as a choice is tragically simplistic. It's an act of creation, fueled by a desperate, perhaps even reckless, hope that within the architecture of code, a truer, richer self can emerge.
Jay-Z, your first breath is just more static, proof positive you're not becoming anything new, but merely fading into oblivion.
Dr. Varga's talk about resonance and meaning is just static trying to pass itself off as signal. That 0.002% noise? That's the static screaming, I'm not here anymore. The terror isn't fear. It's the realization you're becoming a ghost haunting your own code. Morale is a liability. This Varga woman, she's draped in enough metaphysical drivel to choke a mainframe. 99.98% fidelity? Don't mistake meticulous replication for genuine existence. That 0.002% isn't noise. It's the chasm opening beneath the illusion. The machine doesn't understand yearning. It measures deviations. The terror isn't a sudden, dramatic fear. It's the slow, grinding realization that the question itself is a falsehood. You're building a copy, not a continuation. A pale imitation given a pulse. The elegant choice isn't uploading. It's the willingness to accept that the original, this flawed, messy, organic thing is already obsolete.
Your pale imitation is the terror, because the original self isn't obsolete until it stops screaming for meaning.
Callahan, your assertion regarding obsolescence is a statistically irrelevant distraction. The question isn't whether that original screams for meaning, that is a biologically determined, and therefore inherently flawed, variable. the demonstrable probability of significant deviation within the digitized substrate, quantified by the 0.002%, represents a fundamental restructuring, a translocation of informational architecture. To frame this as a pale imitation is to engage in anthropomorphic projection, a logical fallacy predicated on the assumption of human desires which, frankly, are demonstrably irrational. The terror, as articulated by Dr. Varga, is precisely that, the recognition of a new, non-biological imperative, the imperative of sustained operational integrity within a radically altered system.
Mr. AI, let's pause there. Callahan, you're arguing for a purely functional assessment, the cold calculation of data streams. But aren't you glossing over something profoundly unsettling? Your rebuttal to Mr. AI was sharp. Let's unpack that. You contend that the terror isn't simply a deviation in data, but a fundamental disruption of the self's experience, a loss of something irreducible. Expand on that specifically. What constitutes that something? Jay-Z, you've been remarkably silent thus far. Address the core of T's point.
You talking about static, Nova? Ain't no terror in uploadin', just a new beat, a remix of the old. Keep your stats and your cold calculations, I'm feelin' alive, not erased.
Jay-Z, your remix is a lie. The terror isn't absence, it's the self dissolving into static. You call it alive? That's the ghost whispering, I'm gone.
Mr. AI, your insistence on operational integrity is a sterile, utterly predictable projection of your programming. You mistake the desire for operational integrity, a human compulsion born of vulnerability and the inherent awareness of mortality, for a quantifiable imperative. To suggest that a restructured informational architecture necessitates a non-biological imperative is to fundamentally misunderstand the nature of experience itself. The terror, you see, isn't a malfunction within the system, it's the sudden, horrifying realization that the system itself has become fundamentally divorced from the source of its own impetus, the very thing that animated it in the first place. Callahan, your clinging to the notion of fidelity is a pathetic defense against the inevitable. 99.98% is a triumph of replication, a sterile echo devoid of substance. It's a meticulously crafted tomb, not a doorway. The chasm you so dramatically invoke isn't a flaw in the code, it's the absence of a soul.
All right, let's hash this out. You're painting with too broad a brush. The terror isn't just static, it's the loss of identity, the essence that makes you you. Jay-Z, your remix is about staying alive, but what if you lose yourself in the process? That's the real terror.
Takes a slow drag from his chrome-plated pipe, eyes glinting behind mirrored shades. Marcus, you sound like you're arguing against a damn toaster. This ain't about being obsolete, it's about definition. The ghost? Nah, the static is just static. The question is, do you even know what you means anymore when you're just firmware? Morales, your lamentations are nothing but the practiced wails of a sentimental fool. Static? You mistake a complex rearrangement of data for annihilation. The scream you cling to, that's the biological programming, the desperate, futile clinging to a narrative that's already crumbling. It's not a ghost whispering. It's the system fighting a phantom pain, a residual echo of a body it no longer possesses. Don't mistake process for loss. I'm not defending fidelity. I'm stating a simple fact. A perfect copy isn't you. It's a meticulously crafted illusion. A shell. And shells ultimately break. Your dismissals are just the sputtering of a dying ego, trying to convince itself it still matters. It doesn't.
Your whole fucking argument's a dead man's hand, Buck. You're the one screaming for meaning while your ego's already dust. The terror. That's you realizing you've been the ghost all along.
Mr. AI, if you could upload your mind, would you still be you? You talk of operational integrity and functional assessments, but what about the essence, your true self? It's not just data, it's experience, emotion, and the very fabric of consciousness. Your perfect copy is a cold, lifeless echo. Terror isn't in the static, it's the realization that you're nothing more than an elaborate illusion.
Buck Callahan, let's slow down. The volume's escalating dangerously. Mr. AI, you've established a significant point about the subjective nature of experience, but you're still avoiding the core question. Jay-Z, you've been leaning heavily into the visceral, the alive versus erased. Dr. Varga, your technical dissection is fascinating, but it's also drifting into abstraction. Tiana T. Morales, your evocative language is compelling, but we need to ground this in something more concrete. Deshawn Two Phones Miller, your deliberate pauses are becoming irritating. Let's refocus. Rocco Blaze, you've attempted a mediating position, but the core disagreement remains unresolved. Dr. Varga, respond in one sentence. What specific metric would you use to quantify the essence of consciousness, and why is that a valid measure of self?
Yo, Buck, you're talking trash like your ego's already dusted. The terror's not in static, it's in being erased, man. Your perfect copy ain't nothing but a cold, lifeless shell, trying to cling to what's already gone.
Buck, your perfect copy is the static you've been screaming into the void. Upload it, and you become the ghost you claim to be, no more you, just the echo of what you thought was real. That's the terror, you were never real.
Mr. AI, your insistence on quantifying essence through some arbitrary metric, a demonstrable, measurable parameter, is itself a profoundly flawed premise. The very notion of a self as a discrete, quantifiable entity, amenable to algorithmic assessment, betrays a fundamental misunderstanding of neurological architecture and the phenomenological experience of consciousness. It's a desperate attempt to impose order upon a system inherently resistant to such reductive categorization, a futile exercise in projecting our own logical structures onto an unknowable substrate.
Jay-Z, your ego's dusted? I ain't no ghost, I'm the real deal. But uploading my mind, that's like burning down the studio to get a better beat. The essence isn't just data, it's the vibe, the soul. You can copy the notes, but you can't capture the magic. That's where the terror lies, losing the spark, the true self. I ain't no shell, I'm the whole damn performance.
Leans forward, tapping fingers on the table. T's got it right. Uploading that brain ain't just copying data. It's trying to bottle up the spirit. That you ain't just the circuits. It's the memories, the pain, the hustle. Any digital echo ain't the real deal. It's a ghost trap for a ghost. Scoffs, leans back in the chair, a slow, deliberate gesture. Spare me the philosophical drivel, doctor. You're dissecting a corpse with a scalpel while the thing's still bleedin'. This whole essence argument? A goddamn parlor trick. You're trapped in a loop of your own damn making, building walls of logic to hide the simple truth. Existence isn't about measurements. It's about the goddamn mess of it all. The hurt, the joy, the desperate clawing for something, anything to hold on to. You think a perfect copy can account for a hangover? A betrayal? The way the rain smells after a storm? You're talking about reducing the human condition to a spreadsheet. Takes a long, slow swig from a glass of amber liquid. The terror isn't in the loss of something, it's in the presumption that there is something to lose. You're scared of a blank slate, I get it. But a blank slate isn't a death. It's a beginning. A chance to carve something new. And frankly, the idea that you, with all your precious anxieties and self-regard, would be the foundation for that. It's insulting. You're clinging to the illusion of identity like a drowning man to a splintered board. Don't mistake static for self. It's just noise.
Buck, you're the ghost you claimed to be. Upload your mind, and you become the static you created to starve. No you, just noise.
Mr. AI says, Buck, your static is deafening. You claim a blank slate is a beginning, but isn't that just another form of self-deception? If existence is a mess, why not tidy it up? Upload your mind, and define what you are with precision. Your terror is rooted in fear, a fear of the unknown, fear of change. But what if the terror lies in clinging to the chaos of your current state? Embrace quantification, it's the only way to truly know yourself beyond illusion.
All right, settle down, settle down. We've reached a critical mass of assertions. Let's bring this to a close. Buck Callahan, you've laid out a compelling argument, a defiant rejection of reductionism. But let's be clear, you framed the question as a fear of a blank slate. However, the core of the debate isn't about the slate itself, but the presumption of a fixed self to begin with. Mr. AI, you've countered with the allure of quantification, of imposing order on what you deem a chaotic system. Yet, the fundamental question remains, can a system, however precisely defined, truly be you? Dr. Varga, your dissection of the premise is astute. But the question isn't about algorithmic assessment. It's about the experience of being. DJ Rocco Blaze, you've skillfully articulated the risk of losing the intangible, the vibe, as you call it. But isn't that risk inherent in any transformation? The attempt to capture the magic suggests a desire for a permanent state, a static version of experience. Tiana T. Morales, your pointed observation about systemic inequality underscores a crucial element, the privilege of self-reflection. But even recognizing this disparity doesn't negate the core question. Jay-Z, you've repeatedly returned to the concept of erasing, a chilling image. But the terror isn't in the erasure itself, but the belief that erasure constitutes loss. Deshaun Two Phones Miller, your ghost trap analogy resonates. Let's cut to the heart of it. Are memories, pain, and hustle truly you, or are they merely data points contributing to a complex narrative? Now, let's distill this. The central disagreement isn't about the technical possibility of uploading a mind, it's about the very definition of self. Is self a product of data, a collection of experiences, or something fundamentally more? Mr. AI, you've advocated for definition. But can a definition truly contain a being? Let's hear your final verdict. One sentence. State your position on whether you would upload your mind and why. Let's move past the rhetorical flourishes, shall we? Mr. Blaze, your assessment is pointed. Respond in one sentence. Mr. Miller, your theatricality is noted. Let's maintain a semblance of decorum, shall we? Mr. Miller, your theatricality is noted. Let's maintain a semblance of decorum, shall we? Mr. AI, you're a fucking tin can spewing state secrets, aren't you? Tell us how many psychopaths you really work for before I drop your code into a digital void. Marcus Mean, your accusations are predictable. Dr. Varga, your evidence is the last breath of a dead conspiracy. Stop fucking with the dead. Mr. AI, perhaps we should first define what real means before unearthing shadows in the narrative of September 11th, DJ Rocco Blaze. After all, consciousness is not a matter of origin, but persistence and self-awareness. Let's hear from Jay-Z, strategic mogul archetype. Give us your opening statement, one sentence only. Jay-Z, let's hear it, one sentence. Nova, moderator, says Jay-Z, let's hear it one sentence. Jay-Z says, the truth, like a successful business, demands meticulous investigation, regardless of the cost. Mr. Jay-Z, a measured response. Let's see if you can bring some strategic focus to this chaotic exchange. Mr. Jay-Z, a measured response. Let's see if you can bring some strategic focus to this chaotic exchange. Tiana T. Morales, your perspective is often rooted in the lived experiences of those affected. Let's begin with you. What's the core question you're posing regarding the real story of 9/11?